be a mute button. That's been taken care of. It's still early where I am, but welcome to this NHLGamer presentation of ECL hockey. Drew Goldfarb and Cody Tugas with you. That's going to be the way it starts when I'm waking up about 4 hours earlier than I've woken up since this pandemic started. But there's good reason to have done that. This is going to be a really good matchup today, Cody.
Yeah, no, I am absolutely looking forward to it. That is a phenomenal way to start. Normally on these casts, it is myself making a mistake like that, and I know they add up a little bit. But knowing you, knowing your reputation, it's going to be smooth sailing from here on out, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Get it out of the way early so you're not worried about that perfect game, the no-hitter, any of that stuff. You can get the jinx out of the way, get one done, and then just, smooth sailing the rest of the way, like you said. So today we've got 3 teams that we're featuring, one that we're following through a series of 4 games. That is SJ Gaming, which has been a really strong team so far this season, 4-2-0 on the year. What can you tell us about them since they are our featured team of the day?
Well, there's a lot to talk about here. They're made up of a former team by the name of Poggers. You might know them quite well, who finished 13-5-2 last season, finished in 12th, missing the playoffs by just 2 points. But it really does, they speak to continuing the trend that we've seen in ECL 10 thus far, where you have a lot of teams rebranding. Yippee Kova Gaming, H-Reds. So it just kind of continues that trend. But as you mentioned right now, off to a pretty good start. Definitely going to be looking to make the postseason this time out. Not an easy pill to swallow to miss by just 2 points.
It was a really tight race last year, basically for that 8 through right around that, maybe even the 12 spot in the standings last year. Just crazy how really tightly contested those final playoff spots were. As you take a look at our first matchup of the day, SJ Gaming taking on Almost Famous, and you can see the difference in numbers there. Really strong power play percentage for Almost Famous, 100% on the penalty kill for SJ Gaming. I know that we're young into this season, so not necessarily a ton of opportunities to give up yet. We're still, a good bit of games to play, but can't do better than 100% on a penalty kill.
Well, in theory, there aren't too many opportunities, but the interesting thing about that 100% penalty kill through the season thus far is that SJ Gaming have the most penalties in the league thus far as a team. 22 penalty minutes through the, 6 games that they have played thus far. So certainly going to be one of the keys that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But yeah, no, it is fairly impressive, but you can only tempt fate for so long.
Exactly. Once you get it, it's kind of like, having the mute button on to start a broadcast. You get that one mistake, and then it depends on how you respond to that. Respond to actually doing something, giving something up for the first time. That is really going to be the telling thing for them. So Almost Famous on the other side, you see their record this season, 1-2-1, so 3 points in the standings for them. What can you tell us about the team that's wearing that awesome shade of navy blue?
It is a spectacular shade. Again, another team with the lead experience last year. Finished in 14th, though, an 11-15-4 record. They ultimately lost their promotion relegation matchup to Gotham Knights, who also find themselves in Elite this season. So they expected to be back down in Pro. Unforeseen circumstances with Power Gaming and Butterfly Effect kind of dissolving opened up the doors for them to earn their way back in, and they took advantage of that. They do have a relatively new lineup that we'll get into outside of 2 mainstays, and Yaha, our favorite name of the broadcast, I'm sure, and goaltender Janitsky. We'll get more into, the makeup of some of these new players a little bit later on, but chemistry is, perhaps on their side.
And you're taking a look at the lineups for this contest on your screen now as you're taking a look at the way that these teams stack up. And SJ Gaming has played a couple more games than Almost Famous, so when you're looking at the numbers like goals, assists, points for the season, you've got to remember that when you're factoring it in, comparing it. 7 points for someone on Almost Famous compared to 10 on SJ Gaming is basically right about the same when you're talking about percentages, and that is where the leaders for these 2 teams sit.
Yeah, I mean, the key player, again, and it's something we'll get into with the keys to the game, but you look at someone like your Curry and you take a look, 10 points in 6 games, that's good enough to be tied for 7th in the league thus far. But on the flip side, you look at someone like Sokolo, the right wing for Almost Famous, has 7 points in 4 games. So like you said, it pretty much evens out as we continue on, still in the early stages of the season. Again, 6 games played for SJ Gaming, only 4 for Almost Famous. So we still have a long way to go in this season. Of course, the numbers will begin to, kind of even out a little bit, but still definitely in that too early to tell phase in terms of really who's going to run away with it, at least with these 2 teams in terms of who's going to lead the way with points.
It is going to be interesting as well as far as how these teams do in the battle for playoff positioning. Anything jump out at you when we're taking a look at the matchups between these teams, the way that these teams stack up, line up, position to position? What jumps out to you when you're taking a look at how these teams go head-to-head 6v6?
So often it comes down to the goaltender matchup, and of course we have our individual matchups here, but I think as per usual, that tends to be the theme. I think the main thing that stands out for me, though, is despite some new additions, both teams have had shakeups, as you expect to see at this point in the ECL, especially in the elite division, with teams changing branding and everything. But you look at someone like Terity, the left defenseman, of course, for NHLGamer. He's been around since season 1. You look at Hietala in goal, he's been around since season 3. But on the flip side, he's on season 1 original as well. So you look at the stats thus far, and you see how even the numbers are, as we talked about. But then you look at the team, both are trying to work in new members. Both have very experienced players. It is about as even of a matchup, I think, as we could possibly get in this league this season.
Yeah, as you're taking a look at the centers on your screen now, one of the new players for Almost Famous right there, Oyamaska, just 4 assists so far on the season in the 4 games. So averaging a point a game, which is pretty solid. No goals for him just yet, but he's been a big part of getting that offense going and getting his wings scoring, especially on the right side.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, you always look for the center to kind of be that driving force, particularly in the two-way game, and we see it with some of the higher ups, whether it be Halvo Gaming or someone like Patslov on Linköping. That two-way game, most play begins and ends with the center, even if the play is being driven up the wings. So again, it is going to be another key factor here. I think the thing that stands out for me with this matchup, though, Oyamaska, only 39% on the faceoffs compared to Keskitalo at a 48%. So you always talk about the center matchups, who can get the advantage on the draws. Keskitalo has the advantage heading into this game, but we'll see whether or not he's able to make the most of it.
Yeah, and that does always play a big role, especially when you get those offensive or defensive zone draws. Be able to hold possession after a whistle if you're in the offensive zone, or to be able to win it away and start the puck out is always key. And if you're basically somewhere between about just a little bit above a third of the time winning the faceoff, that's something that might be able to be taken advantage of on the other side. Taking a look at the wingers, and you've got some range in styles, some range in size, some range in numbers on the board as well, but a lot of talent sitting on the screen right now.
Absolutely. I mean, you take a look. I mean, Tazan's going to be another key player that we continue to talk about, and Yakuri as well. The left wing matchup is very interesting for different reasons, ultimately. But again, we talk about the new additions here as well. Makari's a new addition coming over from TikTok. You have Sokolo, a new addition coming over from Paru Gaming. And I'm very intrigued. Again, the new additions are such a key factor with these two teams. But I would say, and it's something we haven't mentioned thus far, the advantage probably goes to Almost Famous in terms of the new additions with the team. You have some members formerly of Raccoon Rampage, but they haven't played together since season 8. Some didn't play in season 9. Oyamaska, the center, and a defenseman, Lazio, coming back as well. Sokolo ended up with Paru Gaming, so very intrigued to see how some of these players kind of come back and unite as a team. Ultimately, though, I mean, there is one key player there, and it's Yakuri, not just because of the fantastic lighting on him in that picture, but 10 points in 6 games is nothing to scoff at.
That's that lighting's fantastic. I wish I had that here in my home studio, but hey, that's a really good look for the numbers, really good look with the lighting, a really strong player, and named obviously after a very strong player in the NHL, as well as far as picking out a gamer tag goes. On the defensive side, again, on the Almost Famous side, you do have a newcomer. That's a story basically on any one of the positions that we're going to be talking about outside of net. So what do you see with these defensive matchups, with the way that these players play together? How has Almost Famous's pairing done thus far this season, in your opinion?
So far, so good. Not the biggest point producers in the world, and I think that's going to be the difference. Thus, as we see these games play out, the 1 point in 4 games. Lazio again talked about it. His return to the ECL after sitting out season 9. Also, the 1 point through 4 games. I think I said 1 point through 10 games rather than 4. Might have not, but regardless, not the biggest point producing defenseman on the the back end for Almost Famous. We're on the flip side. Terity, 4 points through 6 games is great. but for a season 1 alum, he knows how to handle himself. 26 points in 26 games last season, which was 3rd amongst defensemen throughout the entire ECL. So I think that is going to be the difference maker, is whether or not Terry is able to get that offensive game going. One of the best play-driving defensemen in the ECL.
And that's just a difference in styles, because you can play the defensive end and just play as a shutdown, or you can try to join the rush and lead things and quarterback the offensive zone presence. And when you're averaging a point a game as a defenseman, like Terry did last year, and pretty close to those numbers this year, that's a really strong example of what you can do as an offensive defenseman. So going in net, we're taking a look at these numbers for these goaltenders for this game. Anything jumping out at you? Because you're taking a look, save percentages are kind of similar enough when you consider the games played difference. Other than the facial hair, if we wanted to compare who's got the better stash versus beard, I know that could be a long discussion. If we had a bunch of time, we could probably get into that. But what else jumps out to you?
Well, the size difference, for one, really stands out for me. Ultimately, with Janitsky, he's someone who is going to be looking to, kind of see that stability. Like you said, with the defensive matchup for Almost Famous, not the biggest, play-driving defenseman in the world. So, the 74.6 save percentage on the season thus far isn't necessarily bad. Closer to an 80 you can get, the better, which with Pitala, an 81 save percentage, 6th best in the ECL thus far. Another, highly tenured player in this league, been around since ECL season 3. So I think it comes down to the experience more than anything. Where Janitsky, not exactly a rookie by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that tremendous power stash has the slight edge here thus far, not only, in stats, but with tenure as well. The experience factor could be a big deciding factor in this series.
I don't think I'd get a mustache or a beard to go that way if I decide to not shave or to keep that intact for the entire pandemic. Like, I don't think I would reach that point, even starting with a beard as I have now. That's just
I could go 20 years and not pull that off, so, I'm a little bit jealous.
Taking a look at the team matchups once again here. The goals against, kind of similar, but again, you got to remember Almost Famous has played 2 fewer games when you're talking about that as well. When you're factoring in the defenses, the defense for NHLGamer really coming up and helping in the offensive zone, coming up with 7 total points between the two of them in 6 games compared to 2 points in 4 games between the defensemen for Almost Famous. So a bit of a difference on there. Just again, we're looking at this. We got that power play. We talked about the penalty kill for NHLGamer, the power play for Almost Famous. On the other end, what do they do really well that allows them to capitalize?
It is taking advantage of the majority of the chances. Team discipline, for the most part, is on point. Now, this is one of the more surprising statistics I think I have ever seen covering a game either for the ECL or the NACL. 4 out of 5 players do not have a penalty thus far. So when you're able to focus, on not killing penalties, you really do get to put that extra bit of time into your power play, and ultimately you get to be rather efficient. With Son, I'm intrigued to see what he's able to do. His discipline may indeed be one of our key factors for this matchup here. But, the old expression of the best defense is a good offense kind of comes into play here. But ultimately, you stay out of the box, you're going to have more chances on the power play. And I'm not surprised to see that efficiency when they get those reps in.
That is what we in the business like to call foreshadowing. When you start going, this might be a key to the game. Might be a bit of foreshadowing. We might be getting a bit more into that in just a little bit. As once again, just taking a look at the game lineups for each of these teams. So it's going to be interesting for anyone who's joining us for the first time. I've obviously been a part of an NACL broadcast. What do you notice with ECL when you're watching this game? What makes it, especially at the elite level, what makes it elite? What makes this stand out?
The funny thing is, throughout the tier system, you're going to see that high-level gameplay, but especially in Elite, I would say the overall commitment from these teams. There is a matter in gaming of taking yourself too seriously. But these teams are serious. Again, they are competing for the largest prize pool in Six's esports history, so you're going to take it a little bit seriously, but ultimately, it's the way they conduct themselves, the seriousness that, the professionalism that they uphold. It results in a very interesting product to watch overall.
So we are getting very close to face-off for game 1 of 2 between these two teams. We have keys to the game that we want to go over, that we need to get to for these contests for these two teams. So we might have to wait on those between the games. So if you wanted to kind of let us know, though, ahead, what are you keeping your eye on as we get towards the start of game 1 here?
For SJ, discipline, Yakari stepping up and carrying the weight is gigantic, but ultimately, Janitsky, the defense in front of him, as we talked about, it hasn't been that rock solid, so you have to keep up the pressure and get shots on goal.
All right, so we're going to save the other ones for Almost Famous for between games 1 and 2. So that is the key for SJ Gaming. They're a featured team of the day as these two teams go off head-to-head for 2 contests, and then it's SJ Gaming taking on Checkmate. More on that, obviously, when we get towards it, but you can see the players have taken to the ice, and we are all set to go. So I like the Colorado Avalanche look that's going on here. You've got that poster in the background of your studio there as well. So an Avalanche theme to game 1 here as we are just about ready to get underway. And in fact, we are, as we have SJ Gaming taking on Almost Famous. Almost Famous, the team in black, SJ Gaming wearing the white and red as they have possession first, trying to set up behind the net, maybe looking for that one-time feed in front, but it's taken away and moving the other way. It's Sokolo. Now moved on ahead. Tizan with it in the corner, backs it up, gets it up to the defense. Long shot goes on goal and is kicked aside by Hitala. Very well played as the first shot of the game is taken. Puck is loose in front, ends up towards the corner where it's picked up by Abeli and now moved out. Can they get it out of the zone successfully? They do. We see a lot of that battle for the possession between the blue lines. I was pointing out in the last games that it's between the top of the circles. It's not just about getting across the blue line. It's about having possession. It's a nice little move to go backing in. But again, Abeli there to steal it away just right at the top of that circle area. So again, this a lot of the trap offense or defense to position properly to try to make sure that puck doesn't get in deep, as the one-time feed was intercepted by Sokolo, and he's going to move it up. That pass attempt intercepted. So what have you seen so far? We're about a quarter of the way through the first period. What have you noticed? We've only had 1 shot on goal to this point, I believe.
As is, I would say, tradition in the league, the trap game is a very, very present. Opportunity at the near post there, and stopped by Hitala. But yeah, the trap game, especially through the opening 10 minutes or so, is obviously going to be a main factor. Both teams looking to throw the puck in front, although I did notice the opportunity from SJ trying to hit Terity at the point for a one-timer. We'll see if they continue to try and work it to the defense.
Quick shot off the faceoff, but it gets blocked in traffic in front, as that was Lazio that was trying to get that long shot. A nice little set play, winning the puck back to the defense, going D to D and taking that quick shot. Centering feed perhaps, but well read and intercepted by Yaha and moved on up. In the offensive zone now, but can they get it in deep? Can they hold possession? They do, and they chip it on ahead behind the net of Hitala, where it is then taken away and moved back out to center and now moved in. But again, that defense just clogging up the center area as SJ Gaming trying to get into the slot area. 3 bodies. You can see it there again on that play as well. Almost Famous doing a good job of getting traffic and making sure that down the middle rush is not open for SJ Gaming.
Both teams, of course, continuing that struggle. Not that big of a surprise. SJ Gaming, I'd say, getting the better of the play, but I'd like to see if Almost Famous is going to be able to continue to work that low cycle as so many teams like to do. But as I say that, the puck quickly going back the other way, Drew.
Yep, and we will see what happens here as the puck is now in the SJ Gaming end and taken away by Almost Famous. And I'm actually going to leave this to you here because my screen appears to have malfunctioned.
Fair enough. We can continue on. We are good to go. Terity recovers around the back of the net, feeds it up to Keskitalo. And again, the chemistry between this front three will continue to be proven. 2 out of the 3 members of this front three new to the SJ Gaming lineup. Scramble for the puck. Terity able to pick it up. Now back up to Makari through the neutral zone. Can he find the space? He can. Still in possession now. Gets it down low to Keskitalo. Back in front. Wraparound chance for Keskitalo. Puck still loose. Back to the point. Terity recovers. Still in possession. Shrugs off the hit. Loses it. Now again recovered.
Great shift by Terity there to just starting this possession on the wraparound. That forehand shot goes on goal, but it's turned aside by Yanitsky, and it's played the other way. I believe, back to come up with you, as that one-time feed was intercepted. Very well read by Abeli, just getting in that passing lane and taking away the one-time opportunity from Almost Famous. Another centering feed, but again, that defense reading it very well for SJ Gaming. forcing the puck the other way, and now an offensive chance. That first pass attempt was blocked. Second one as well, as Yakuri was trying to center it towards the slot area, but Almost Famous reading the play very well. Yaya gets it in low, and the spinning backhand is in! Sokolo is going to get us on the board first. That is the first goal of the contest, and very well done as he caught Hietala just out of position and just throws it into what for him was a nice empty net.
Out of nowhere, Drew, but good things can happen when you throw pucks on goal. Yaha. I don't know, perhaps out of frustration or not, but Almost Famous struggling to get shots through the opening 20 minutes here. But ultimately, you throw a puck on net, you never know what opportunity is going to present itself. And as you mentioned, Sokolo right there to bury it on a wide open net. 50 seconds left. Could be a back-breaking goal against SJ Gaming.
That was a big one, and as a guy I used to broadcast with likes to say, sometimes the best pass is a shot. You get that rebound, it always throws the goalie out of position for the guy who picks it right back up. So that is what they took advantage of, and that is going to do it for the first period. As a late shot goes on goal, I don't know that if that would have counted. That may have gone on net in the final 10th of a second or so, but we are going to close out the first period with a 1-0 lead for Almost Famous as they pick up an unassisted goal from Sokolo, his 6th goal of the season. He is leading his team dramatically now up to 8 points in 4 games and a period on top of that. So one of the star for Almost Famous offense coming up big in the first period.
Absolutely. I mean, again, a former member of Power Gaming, a little bit surprised to see them dissolve, but a really solid team that he was a focal point of. Not sure if he had more than one registered shot that period. If he doesn't, that is his 6th goal on just 8 shots this season, so shooting the lights out. But, Drew, I think the key point there, just 6 shots between these two teams. At times, it might have felt like it was a little bit lower, but that neutral zone battle, we always talk about it with every ECL broadcast, particularly in Elite. It's not a surprise to see it be such a struggle, and we talked about the face-offs as well. Surprisingly low number of face-offs. Teams doing a good job staying on side despite that trap game. Possession is key. Almost Famous, willing to mix it up, willing to try and cycle it down low, throw shots on net, and ultimately it paid off for them. So I'm intrigued to see what SJ Gaming is able to do here as the second period is just about to begin.
They will be looking for the response goals. We are underway with period number 2, face-off 1 back by Keskitalo, and now SJ Gaming trying to get into the offensive end. They do, throwing the puck along the boards where it's immediately scooped up by Almost Famous and will be played out. Yahaya making the long feed up to Sokolo. He's got the goal and now fed on ahead. The puck on goal, and it's in! Make it 2! Sokolo really quickly to open up the second period, and he's got himself another marker.
Getting himself to the dangerous areas in front of the net. Good things can happen when you put yourself in good position. David Clarkson made a career out of it. You know, you don't have to be Ilya Kovalchuk. You just have to be the guy that cleans up the rebounds that Ilya Kovalchuk generates. Sokolo doing a phenomenal job getting to the front of the net, and it pays off again. You see why teams so often try to just force the puck into the slot right in front of the goalie to get up into his face, because anything can happen. It's so difficult to track the puck. You never know who's going to pick it up. Sokolo has his 2nd of the game. We're on a hat trick watch from here on out.
Oyamaska did a really good job of starting up that play. I believe the possession was taken, so it's an unassisted goal, a second unassisted goal by Sokolo, but credit to the Almost Famous centerman for leading that rush. Is going the other way. Really good active stick in the lane by Yaha as it's poked away, but now, again, in the corner, it's taken. Yaha just all over this SJ Gaming team down low, but that puck gets on goal and is covered up and held by Yanitsky. Maybe the first chance that we've seen him tested in a little bit. He only faced 2 shots in that first period. I don't know if that was a shot as much as it was the puck just rolling on net, but we'll see what SJ Gaming can do here off the faceoff. They go for a set play. Tie up off the draw, sweeping in with the puck, pushing it on goal twice, but turned aside both times was Makari as the puck is still held in. Long shot, turned aside, rebound is loose, and now in the corner. Good board pin there, and the puck loose goes right towards the net, and Yanitsky taking no chances. He'll just cover it up right on the goal line. So good opportunity here for SJ Gaming. Maybe their first or possibly their second real opportunity of this contest is face-offs at 3-3. We'll see who comes away with the tiebreaker there, and it's Almost Famous. Yaha moving it up, makes the bank pass up for the man looking for the hat trick. Sokolo has it taken away. He had 4 defenders within about maybe a 6-foot radius of him on that rush, and it's taken away by SJ Gaming as they move in. Really nicely by Abelis. He's getting into the corner. Nice spin, backhand pass in front. Thrown on goal, but turned aside as Keskatalo had an opportunity. But again, Yanitsky is there and keeps them out of the net.
Phenomenal job there by SJ Gaming in terms of trying different strategies. Shot from the point, defenseman now pinching down below the hash marks. Good opportunity, good job of trying anything you can, really. Trying to change it up a little bit to see what ends up sparking.
Long pass up by well, that was a really great pass and a well-defended play as well. Both the defensemen for SJ Gaming just getting back to make sure that that did not turn into the breakaway it very nearly was. Abeli getting it in deep, trying to chase it down was Yakuri. He's going to end up with possession only to have it taken away by the other player marked in green. That would be Sokolo. A couple of nice passes, a huge hit in the corner, and Sokolo has it as he crosses into the offensive zone, but offside. Yamaska was a little bit, let's just say a little bit, ahead of that play there as Sokolo had gone across the blue line before entering in. Nearly halfway through this contest, 2-0, both goals coming unassisted by Sokolo in this game. Almost Famous up 2-0 as we are now across the halfway point here in game number 1 of our quadruple header. In the offensive zone in the corner, and now taken back, played up to the point. Maybe looking for a centering feed down low. That backhand attempt was poked away and taken away very nicely. Again, I've been calling his name all day in the defensive zone as that one is thrown on net and kicked aside by Hitala. It was played well by his defenseman because that rebound could have been dangerous if SJ Gaming did not get back and pick things up. Makari trying to move with it, but has his pocket picked, taken away, and now Sokolo gets it back to the D and now played up. Sokolo again entering the offensive zone. Long shot, rebound opportunity, and it's in. Tizan with the goal, and it is now a 3-0 lead for Almost Famous. They're off to a fantastic start.
You throw the puck on net, good things can happen. We've been banging on about that point for this entire game. This time it's Sokolo setting up his man on the off wing. He's on second goal of this season. Again, a Season 1 original. Crafty move, knows what to do. Get to the net for that rebound.
Really good full line effort there. It's another opportunity as the puck is shot backhand off the side of the net, and Hitala will cover it up for the whistle with 5:54 to go in period number 2. Another offensive zone draw here for Almost Famous. They've been good in the face-off circle today, just about even with SJ Gaming. SJ Gaming comes away with a crucial defensive zone face-off win as Keskatalo won it back to his defenseman. Skating in, Abeli's going to pass it over to his defensive partner, that's Terodi, and it's taken away as they just barely had entered the zone with possession. Still staying onside, very nicely done, perhaps looking for that hat trick. Centering feed, the puck still loose and picked up by Makari as he plays it towards the corner. Banked off the side of the net, dangerously loose puck. And Makari will Hitala will play it and cover, but that is going to draw the whistle. And we're going to have a power play opportunity here, as that is going to be a hook called against the most recent goal scorer. Tizan is going to be sitting for 2 minutes. So this is an offensive zone draw and a 2-minute power play chance for SJ Gaming. We'll see what they're able to do with it, but right off the draw, Almost Famous dumps it out. What are you taking a look for here on this power play?
Tough call, but 33% percentage on the power play for SJ Gaming thus far this season. Look for them to get pucks in front just like that. You see what's been working against them? No reason to not just throw it right back at the other team, especially with that extra bit of space out there.
And Yanitsky taking no chances, just an immediate cover-up for that whistle. Faceoff will be coming to his right. So his glove side is covering the wide side of the net, but the faceoff is won back again by Almost Famous. They've been great on those draws in the defensive zone, especially in this game, and they've cleared it out yet again. We'll see if SJ Gaming can get something going here. 45 seconds left to go in the man advantage. They've established the zone. We'll see what they can do setting it up. Backhander on goal, turned aside as Yakuri had that opportunity, but again, Yanitsky making the initial stop and making sure there was not a chance number 2.
Abeli has been so impressive. We talked about Terody being the play generator in possession of the puck right there, and there you see what he's capable of. But Abeli, that right defenseman for SJ Gaming, really stepping up and being involved in the play in every aspect.
Managed to get it in deep here, and we'll see what SJ Gaming can do as we're now back to 5-on-5. Still some open space. Opportunity for SJ Gaming to try to capitalize as we are now fully 5-on-5, set up in the defensive zone for Almost Famous. They have scooped up the puck off the rebound, but turned it over. Opportunity down low, and it's put off the side of the net by Curry. Curry in the corner has his pocket pick. Very well done by Sokolo in the defensive end, and now he's got it as he crosses the red line, banks it in off a teammate of his into the corner as he rushes towards the net, but it's picked up in the corner by SJ Gaming, and that brings us to the end of a very eventful second period of play. A power play chance for SJ Gaming, but they could not get on the board. Take a look at those shots, though. 9 on goal in the period for SJ Gaming. Just relentless, especially when you consider that Almost Famous was the one that picked up 2 goals in that frame.
It's a matter of capitalizing on the opportunities. We saw Curry hit the post there at the end of the period. It's a little bit of bad luck, but I mean, ultimately, Anitsky's done well, and we talked about it for Almost Famous. That defense needs to tighten up. That was one of our main points, and so far, so good. I mean, they've really been pressuring Yaha in particular, but he's done a great job of, really kind of counterbalancing or counteracting those opportunities, making the most of it, quick puck movement. A very impressive performance here for Almost Famous, who are on the verge of just their second win of this young season.
Still 20 minutes of game to be played as SJ Gaming wins off the faceoff. Abeli skating in with it. That backhand centering feed was intercepted and moved out by Almost Famous. Bank pass again is taken off the boards and picked up by SJ Gaming as they're going to move it on out. Terady with it, and he's going to leave it back. That's Curry. Bank pass. Very nicely done off the boards. D to D, and that puck intercepted in front, but that one-time feed was put wide. A couple of really good opportunities for SJ Gaming. I don't know if they even got a shot on goal with it, as Almost Famous scoops it up, and they're going to try to set something up, take their time getting out of the zone, as they finally do. Tizon gets it in, centered, but taken away. Zon with it one more time, trying to get it in front. One-time feed, looking for that hat trick, and it's gloved down by Hitala. And still played. Loose puck taken now by SJ Gaming. They're going to exit the zone with it. Yakuri leaves it back, and that puck is going to scoot off of Makari and back towards center ice. He scoops it up, but that battle for possession between the blue lines is back on one more time. Over 5 minutes gone by in period number 3. Opportunity now for Almost Famous. Skating in. Down low, that backhander goes just wide. Sprawling out with Hitala, but it went a little bit wide. A really good scoring chance for Almost Famous. SJ Gaming now with the puck in the offensive zone, turns it over, trying to seal it right back. Really good pressure from Yakuri. He's going to center that puck, but one more time it's taken away and moved out by Almost Famous. Really good effort there by Curry in the corner, in the offensive zone, trying to make sure they got a second and a third opportunity out of that, because they are running out of chances here to get on the board if they want to try to have an opportunity to tie this game up before the close of period number 3. Zon with it, gets it back to the point, long shot, glove down, and then the rebound goes in as Zon picks up the goal. That is going to be his second, and now 2 players for Almost Famous are 1 goal away apiece from a hat trick.
That was a spectacular job on the forecheck from the wingers for Almost Famous, double-teaming the defenseman. It's been a bit of a struggle for SJ Gaming at times to get those breakouts. Happens there again off of a spectacular forechecking job, and this one appears to be out of reach. Sokolo was so close, 1 big glove save away from that hat trick, and as you mentioned now, 2 players on hat trick watch as we are just about halfway through this third period.
So now if you're SJ Gaming, you're probably looking ahead. You are playing this team one more time in just a few minutes, basically, after this game wraps up. So there is still things to be played for. There's still that message to be sent that you're not going to just go quietly. It's 4-0. We're halfway through this third period of action, and the puck is in the offensive end one more time for Almost Famous. Sokolo was looking for that hat trick. The puck is still down low and now finally taken up and out by SJ Gaming, trying to get something on the board here before game 1 comes to a close. Opportunity down low. That puck is loose in front. The rebound was there, and Yakuri just could not get a stick on it. That puck was sitting on the doorstep. It was well defended, but Curry was there, tried to sweep at it, and could not knock it in. Sokolo looking for that hat trick, maybe looking to set up his teammate, also looking for a hat trick. That's Tizon, who also has an opportunity at it. Sokolo now a backhand wraparound chance. That one works a lot of the time, and
Sure, not sure what happened on the mic front. I think we'll take over for here for the moment, but we talked about it all game. Sokolo very, very close on a few occasions to getting that hat trick, and ultimately He does, just finding the space on the short side. Relentless pressure on that forecheck from Almost Famous. And it almost feels like we got our notes reversed in terms of what we have seen thus far. But just a spectacular job all around. Almost Famous picking up their second win of the season here, barring a drastic turnaround. I am extremely impressed.
This has been quite the showing for Almost Famous. And yeah, apparently in all of the excitement, I bumped the mute button on my microphone again. I've got to keep that a little bit closer. It's been sitting down towards my leg, and that's why I normally don't broadcast with armrests on my chair. The excitement can sometimes just do damage to apparently a microphone. Here's an opportunity.
I have been known for forgetting to unmute my mic after a sneeze, so you're not alone there. These things happen.
Maybe going for that goalie shot on goal. That was an interesting tactic taken by Almost Famous as Yanitsky tried to take that long shot. He had it centered, but it was well played and defended as well. Here's an opportunity down low. That puck's still loose and now taken out by SJGaming, trying to get on the board. Only just over 3 minutes to do it if they're going to try to do it here in game number one. Abeli down low. The defenseman setting things up. That one-time feed was well blocked by Sokolo, as the long shot by Taro D never got anywhere. Sokolo just getting in the shooting lane. He read that the whole way. Minute 40. 100 seconds remaining in this third period. It is 5-0. Almost Famous all over SJGaming as we enter the final minute. Maybe one more opportunity here. The puck is loose down low. Rebound opportunity. It's turned aside and covered up. Very well played by Yanitsky. On that one.
Fantastic save by Yanitsky. The biggest opportunity, I'd say, of the game for SJGaming. Yanitsky stands on his head to take that one away.
That was a really tough one because there was a couple of chances there down low for SJGaming. They had their biggest guns in the shooting position, but just could not capitalize. Maybe looking for a sixth goal of this contest, and it's in! That is goal number 4 of the game for Sokolo, as that puck was just thrown, or no, excuse me, that one's going to be credit to the centerman. Oyamaska's going to get credit. That is his first goal of the year, yeah.
A spectacular job there by the center, and it hasn't exactly been. I'm surprised there wasn't a goalie interference call there. That was pretty close. Might be a little bit more frustrating. Just kind of insult to injury, salt in the wounds for Hiatala. It's been a frustrating game for SJGaming, but ultimately, Almost Famous, they've been able to get the pucks on net, get the traffic in front, but on the back end, they've been able to defend, and that's been the key for them, not giving up the same chances that they're ultimately capitalizing on.
It is now 6-0. We'll see if they go for the extra point after scoring that touchdown. They've pulled the goalie momentarily for that delayed penalty, so it will be a power play chance for the remainder of regulation for SJGaming. Maybe an opportunity to try to get something with 34 seconds, just under 34 seconds to go in this third and final period. Almost Famous won the draw, but could not clear the zone. They also can't do it on the second chance effort. 25 seconds, puck loose in front, pushed on goal, and scooped up by SJGaming. Centering feed is intercepted really nicely, dangled out of the zone by Zahn.
Crafty.
As he's going to get all the way in. That was beautifully done, beautiful trickeration. Final dozen seconds, the puck thrown on goal, but turned aside as Makari was looking for it. The zone has been cleared, and with 6 seconds left, that is it, a shutout in game one of this doubleheader. Almost Famous picking up the huge 6-0 win over SJGaming, and we expected this to be close. That score is a surprise. The result, when you look at the way these teams had started the season, 4-2-0 for SJGaming, 1-2-1 for Almost Famous, kind of a surprise across the board just about when you're talking about the way that one went.
You know, sometimes numbers only say so much. It almost feels as though when we look at the key points, and of course we'll get to the ones that we weren't able to get to before that game, but it almost feels like our notes were reversed. I know they weren't, but Almost Famous, I mean, the definition of flipping the script, that was spectacularly done. And we talked about Yanitsky needing to get that save percentage up. How's your first shutout for the season to ultimately change that around? What a performance.
Yeah, not too shabby. And, his goals against average is going to go down. His save percentage is going to go way up after that game. And, yeah, shutout number 1 on the season for Yanitsky. A fantastic game for him. Let's talk about the defense, though, for Almost Famous, because they really protected him in front. They did a great job of making sure that the opportunities that were had by SJGaming, because you could really only hope to limit. You're not going to totally eliminate. This is way too high of a level to do that. But they did an incredible job of limiting those high-quality scoring chances.
a spectacular job. And we talked about it leading into that game with Yaha and Lazio. Ultimately, not the biggest, offensive defenseman in this league, but in terms of being a shutdown defenseman, that pairing was spectacular. I mean, I am extremely impressed with what we've seen thus far. And again, Lazio returning, not playing last year, they did a more than fine job. And we kind of alluded towards it. Under pressure was one of the keys. Yanitsky needs help. He was facing nearly 16 shots per game, which is relatively high. The key for SJ, take advantage of a weak defense. What weak defense? I did not see a weak defense there for Almost Famous. That was one of the more complete team efforts I've seen, and it started with those two defensemen.
Yeah, and offensively, I mean, Oyamoska getting on the board as well. He got credit for that goal, his first goal of the season. What a game for Sokolo. He had the hat trick, and he ends up getting an uncredited assist on that last one because he kind of led the rush, and it was a loose puck. It ended up going Oyamoska's way. As you can see, just a really complete effort. He was great in the face-off circle as well in that game. Won a lot of key face-offs for Almost Famous, kept it right around 50-50 at the very least. I don't know what the final numbers were for that contest, but it seemed like it was at least 50-50 for Almost Famous, and just a really complete, full offensive effort for those three forwards.
As you mentioned with Oyamoska, I mean, the face-off's not exactly a strong suit thus far, but he did a great job, was able to win some key defensive draws as well, and that was huge. His stat line heading into this game, I mean, 4 points in 4 games, no goals, as you mentioned. He opened up that goal column there, but he's been around for a while. He didn't play last year, but he's a former captain of a team in Raccoon Rampage, playing with some of his old teammates here as well, and we talked about it. The play starts with the center, and in terms of that defensive matchup, Oyamoska was there to help out defensively and able to get on the board as well. That is what you need. A strong center is the key to success in this league, and a league of this caliber. Not to say that Keskitalo had a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. I'll be intrigued to see if we kind of chalk it up to more bad luck than anything for SJ Gaming, but absolutely all the credit in the world to Almost Famous and Oyamoska in particular.
Oyamoska, multi-point game. He had at least one assist. He may have had more in that game, in addition to coming up with the final goal of the contest for that Almost Famous team. We had talked about the keys to the game for SJ Gaming going into Game 1. We were saving the keys for Almost Famous going into Game 2. We haven't updated this graphic, so go through what you were thinking before these games started, and then tell us what they've done so far and if you change any of these.
I think I would have to. I mean, again, we talk about the new additions with a lot of these teams. You talk about 2 players in this lineup who did not play last season. You talk about Sokolo coming over from the former Paru. Tizon again coming back as a Season 1 original. How are these players going to mesh? And we have seen some very good teams ultimately fall short. A certain matchup that Linköping had last week comes to mind, where it's like, okay, this is a very good team. Linköping won that game, I believe, 7-0. A spectacular job there by the defending champions, of course. But we always talk about how the new additions are going to mesh. They meshed very well, particularly up front. The forechecking pressure was phenomenal, ruthlessly efficient, and really gave, as I talked about, the more puck moving, the more offense driving defensemen in this series for SJ Gaming a brutal, brutal time. In terms of calming presence, now, Tizon was the main player to talk about here. I simply said he needs to settle down. He was the league leader in penalty minutes coming into this series. He did end up in the box once, but again, we saw a very strong penalty killing effort, a perfect penalty killing effort. It was 5th best in the league out of 16 teams, of course, for Almost Famous heading into this game. They survived that threat right at the end of the game. Probably not what Yanitsky wanted to see. Oh, I got a shutout on the line. My team took a penalty. That's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, Tizon ultimately, I mean, hey, you ended up in the box. Your team bailed you out. You scored 2 goals. You're going to be feeling pretty good about that. And main man, I think we nailed this one. Sokolo was our key player. He had scored 5 of the team's 7 goals heading into the series. You heard that right. They had 7 goals heading into this series this afternoon. Another 5 added to the list. We need more production from the rest of the squad. They got it. Can SJ shut down Sokolo? Just shut him down. You're good to go, right? Apparently not. Almost Famous, again, just a spectacular team performance. They're coming off of being at the hands of a sweep by Havu Gaming, last year's runner-up, and a split against Checkmate, who we'll see in action later on tonight in this very broadcast. But yeah, ultimately, I am very intrigued to see what they can do. Almost Famous. I mean, can you keep up that pace? Was that a fluke?
They scored as many goals in that last game as their forwards had combined for through the first four. Their forwards had 6 of their 7 goals, 5 of them coming from Sokolo in the first 4 games, and they scored 6 goals in game 1 of our doubleheader. SJGaming taking on Almost Famous. This is game number 2. The teams have switched rinks, so it's a different Colorado team that is on the ice, and that is the black and red. Really quick start by Almost Famous as that backhander thrown on net. Again, Tizon on the rush, trying to get something going. Really, really quick opportunity. And right off the bat, Almost Famous trying to keep that offensive pressure up. See what they do.
It's going to be very interesting to see if they can do that. But again, you talk about that forechecking pressure in the last game. It was spectacular. A job well done. That's going to be the key to the game here. It's just keep doing what you were doing. It's up to SJ Gaming to adapt.
So far, so good. Just about 2 minutes in as SJ Gaming setting up from their own end. They're now the team in the black and red. The team in white is Almost Famous, coming off that 6-0 win in game 1 of our doubleheader of doubleheaders here on NHLGamer. That long shot is redirected, I believe, in front, and that tip-in goal for Yakuri is going to get SJ Gaming on the board and off to a 1-0 start to game number 2. So there is a way to start the game if you're SJ Gaming.
Yakuri is the main man for SJ Gaming, the league, or the team leader in points, tied for 4th in the league heading into this game. The key factor here, though, they tried this a lot in that first game. The shots from Terity and Abali up top, it pays off this time. Ultimately, there was enough space for Yakuri to get a piece of that puck. So talk about SJ Gaming adapting. They went back to the well that didn't work in the last game. It pays off almost immediately.
Really good job of setting up in front, and that long home run pass was intercepted by Abali and started up. Moving the other way, that quick shot goes off the side of the net. Another opportunity here off the rebound as SJ Gaming setting up in the offensive end. They are coming out a team possessed so far. That quick shot goes off the side of the net. Still played backhanded on goal from behind the net and covered up by Yanitsky for a whistle. Just under 5 minutes gone by in period number 1. So Keskitalo also getting an assist on that first goal, but that coming off of a quick shot from a defenseman redirected in front. We'll see what they do here as the faceoff is won back to Terity, setting up, moving around. Terity goes D to D, passes over to Abali. What's he going to do? Pressured, forced towards the blue line, and that centering feed was then passed again and intercepted, and Almost Famous moves out. Sokolo down low, the one-timer, they score! Tizon gets the goal. That is his first of the game, but it is his third of the day. And just like that, we're back even.
That is a backbreaker for SJ Gaming. You finally pick up a little bit of momentum. You hit the post. Keskitalo so close to doubling up the lead. And on the other side, within moments, Almost Famous strike back. Tizon has woken up in a big-time way. A great look, a great feed from Oyamaska. And Almost Famous right back into this. I think we might be due for a bit of a barn burner in this one.
Whew. Strap in, everybody. I'm going to make sure my mute button is nowhere near my armrest because I'm going to be... This seems like it's going to be a very exciting contest. Both other forwards picking up assists on that goal for Almost Famous as SJ Gaming now enters the offensive end, and they're trying to set things up, maybe get a response goal of their own. Quick long shot goes on goal, turned aside, and then dropped towards the corner, played into the corner by Yanitsky. So Almost Famous able to start out the other way. Puck into the zone, but possession was lost by Sokolo, and it's now played back out to center where the teams will battle for possession. Puck again, loose one more time. Almost Famous trying to enter the zone offensively. They're able to do that, but a really nice hit by Abali turns the puck over. Really nice little spin move, gets it in, but a good active stick by Oyamaska is going to force that puck into the corner, and Almost Famous picks it up, but that pass intercepted. Another opportunity for SJ Gaming as they get it towards the corner, but again, taken right back. Yaha in really good position for that one to take the puck away. Puck in deep. Just under 9 minutes left to go in the first period. SJ Gaming on defense now. An opportunity down low. Trying to get something going is Almost Famous. Trying to get out of their zone, and they do. Or excuse me, SJ Gaming does, getting out of their own zone. Now in the offensive zone, but poked away and sent towards the corner. Very nice job to just get the puck out of the dangerous area by Almost Famous. And now SJ Gaming again with an intercept at their own blue line. We're back now after a really quick start. We've had a lot of feeling out now as that pass, really good opportunity, but just out of reach of Terady as SJ Gaming trying to set things up. It's kind of interesting. Game one, we saw a lot of this kind of trap, this back and forth, feeling each other out for the first half of the first period. And now we've seen a bit of the reverse. It was an offensive onslaught for the first 5 or 6 minutes of this frame. And now the teams are back to feeling each other out. Maybe a 2-on-1 opportunity. Backhanded on goal. The rebound was loose, but scooped up well by Yakuri, and he will play it out of the zone. Interesting to see that slowdown, yeah.
You talked a lot about the difference, the change in pace through the first half of this period to the second half. My normal broadcast partner, Sin, might not be here, but his jinx continues. Anytime you call something out, you think it might go one way, it always finds a way to change things up. So who knows? Maybe it'll be a 2-1 overtime final at this rate.
All right, I'm dropping my mute button back towards the armrest. Obviously, this is going to be now at a defensive battle as it's now 1-1. Defensive zone draw is won by SJ Gaming, and they're able to clear the zone. Kescatalo enters offensively and dumps it in towards the corner, scoops it back up, gets it back to the D. That puck ends up being poked free and taken away by Almost Famous. Well played by Tizon as he's going to get it right back, but they would be offside if they touch it here in the final minutes, so Almost Famous has to touch back up, and that allows SJ Gaming to start up with a little bit of speed. Final 20 seconds of the first period. One more chance. Makari gets it up. This is Abeli. Now dropped. Back up top, 4 seconds. What are they going to do? The one-time shot goes on goal, turned aside, and covered up for a whistle with 1.5 seconds to go in this first period. So maybe time for a very quick set play if Kescatalo can win this faceoff. We'll see what they go for. But instead, Almost Famous comes away with the puck, and that will do it for a let's say, I don't want to say an up and down first period. I want to say like a relentless and then suddenly feeling everything out first period. A very, just energy-wise, quick then slow, then quick and then slow. And we saw quick goals traded to open up the frame, but now 1-1 as the teams head into the first intermission.
It's tough to say why the play went the way it did ultimately. I don't particularly think that SJ Gaming turtled up a little bit more after allowing that goal. They were still doing a good job of keeping up the offensive pressure, but perhaps just something in the back of your mind says, okay, let's be a little bit careful. But they're still doing a great job of getting the puck to Terady and Abeli, trying to get the defenseman involved. And you can see there, I mean, that's certainly not an indication of, backing off or not keeping up the pressure. I mean, that was a dominant period by SJ Gaming. A little bit surprised to see the numbers that slanted ultimately. But the key throughout that first game, and now we're seeing it continue here to the first period of game 2, Almost Famous has been clinical. Absolutely, I mean, maybe not perfect, but almost perfect, you might say, in terms of their efficiency in taking advantage of these opportunities. So you talk about multiple hit posts for SJ Gaming. It might still just be a matter of keep doing what you're doing, and you should get that breakthrough, but time will tell.
About 4-1 the time on the attack favoring SJ Gaming in that first period. But the goals are what matters, and it's just a 1-1 contest. Almost Famous with the more recent marker in this game as the second period is underway. We'll see if Almost Famous can get something going. Really good forecheck by Yakuri. He was getting in there and forcing the puck back in deep. Maybe an opportunity here, but the puck is taken up by SJ Gaming. They're trying to start things out of the zone. Giving that little bit of a forecheck there is Oyamaska. He was the one forward who's trying to get in deep by Almost Famous, providing that pressure as the puck gets in deep to the Almost Famous end and is played back out to center. Huge hit at center ice. Very nicely delivered there by Sokolo. Huge open ice check. That is a painful one if you've ever taken one. And there's a quick goal. Speaking of painful, a backhander and in for Oyamaska. It's his first of the game and his second of the doubleheader.
Unbelievably efficient. That has been the theme. Again, Almost Famous not controlling the puck at all, but the three forwards do such a good job of just driving the play to the front of the goal. SJ Gaming, they're trying everything. They're trying to throw shots on. Yanitsky's been forced to make some big saves, but Almost Famous has been very impressive in terms of their ability to drive to the net. And from there, it's the second or even third opportunities at a pickup that's been resulting in these goals. Oyamaska gets another one.
So back-to-back goals scored by Almost Famous after SJ Gaming jumped out to that quick 1-0 lead. That was over 20 minutes ago in game time. We'll see if they have an answer to the second goal scored of the game by Almost Famous. That puck loose down low, very well defended because that was a dangerous chance for Yakuri. He was in the low slot area, and it was the Almost Famous D that stepped in and prevented him from getting a dangerous shot on goal. With possession in the corner, but again, pocket picked, well defended. That's Lazio who is getting in there and taking the puck away. Played out, and now a delayed penalty is coming against SJ Gaming as the puck goes all the way back. And Almost Famous will have some time to set things up. We'll see what they could do here with the delayed penalty coming. Skating still 5-on-5 as the puck is touched. Obviously, when you pull the goaltender in NHL 20, you don't allow the goalie to play as the extra attacker, unfortunately. So most of the time keeping the goaltender in net. But Almost Famous now with a chance on the power play.
SJ Gaming did a spectacular job. Opportunity there quickly in front. SJ Gaming did a spectacular job of staying out of the box despite going to the penalty kill for the most consistent team going to the kill throughout the season thus far. They did a great job of staying out of the box in game one. A rare trip. You don't see that too often. Opportunity developing.
Here's Almost Famous down low. Push just wide of the net. And it was because of a little bit of interference, and that's going to result in a penalty shot. As taken down was Tizon. He's going to have an opportunity here looking for his second goal of the game. He had two in the first one. We'll see what he does. Little fake coming in slow. Oh, he just slid it right in. He may have been looking to... He got the opening he was looking for, but couldn't get the puck back to the other side. Very nicely read by Hitala, just getting across. He read it going to the backhand the whole way.
You got to love the old school double pad stack, Drew.
Stacking them like the 80s. Absolutely love it. Almost Famous still about halfway through this power play. That feed cross ice didn't have its intended target in that region of the rink, but the puck's still in the offensive end for Almost Famous. Final 30 seconds of the man advantage. We'll see what they could do here as it's taken away by SJ Gaming. Can they clear the zone? They do, and they'll skate it out and clear it back to the other blue line. So that will do it for the penalty, but still a bit of chance on the rush here as that one thrown off the pads of Hitala and towards the corner. Scooped up. Sokolo trying to get in front, but it ends up going towards the corner. Under 9 minutes left to go here in period number 2. We'll see what they can do. Oh, big bad steal. Here's a turnover and an opportunity, but recovering defensively was Terodi. Did a really good job of bouncing back on that one because that was a dangerous turnover. Oyamaska was getting up off the ice after taking a huge hit and ended up with a big intercept. Now on the other end, opportunity for SJ Gaming, throwing it towards the net, but turned aside. Trying to clear the puck by skating it out up the center. It does work. Sokolo now getting it back to the D. Long shot. That slapper blocked in front. Sokolo centers, and it's in! One-timer goal for Almost Famous, and it is now 3 in a row for the team in white.
A spectacular job. Again, Tizon able to bury that one. Not too often you'll see a team get a penalty shot while on the power play. Tizon not able to make the most of that one. But again, go back to what's been working. Get the puck to the front of the goal, and good things will happen. Tizon, again, finds himself in great position. SJ Gaming, perhaps surprisingly struggling to stop that play consistently, and they're paying for it now, down by 2.
Another rush here for Almost Famous. That spin backhand feed towards the slot, but the pass was well defended as that was heading over towards Oyamaska. Now in the other way, but offside, so a stoppage with 5:03 to go in period number 2. This was a 1-0 lead for SJ Gaming just a couple of minutes into the first period, but 3 consecutive goals scored by Almost Famous as this as a 3-1 edge. Nicely just cleared in. Sokolo picks it up and just try to drop the knee and snipe it, but ends up throwing it on goal. Hitala was there to make the stop. Almost Famous just suddenly just ramping up the offensive pressure. Really quick chances. They're not necessarily having long extended offensive zone opportunities, but they are generating huge quick chances. Here's another one. That pass just behind Sokolo as he was trying to find him on that centering feed from along the sideboards. Taken up and out. SJ Gaming in the offensive end now. Yakuri drops it back to the defense. Centered in front. The shot! and they score! Keskitalo is going to get credit for that one, and that stops the bleeding and gets it back to being a one-goal contest. That was a huge goal here in this game.
An unfortunate goal against Unitsky, but that's the risk you take when you don't go manually butterfly. It does leave the 5-hole open for shots like that. If you make those little micro adjustments at the last second, we will see whether or not SJ Gaming is able to build upon that goal. But Keskitalo gets, I believe, his 4th of the season.
Indeed it is, and up to now 9 points. It's his 2nd point of the game. He's got a goal and an assist. That puck dangerously loose in front, trying to center it again, and covered up and held by Yanitsky. That was a dangerous play off of the boards. An interesting way that puck just played and kind of sat in front of that blue paint for a moment. With 41 seconds to go, 40.9. 10-4 the faceoffs in favor of Almost Famous. That is huge advantage for them, but off this offensive zone draw for SJ Gaming, they come away with the puck. Final 10 seconds. We'll see if they can tie things up in the closing moments of this frame as it's pushed on goal and covered up with 5.1 to go in the 2nd period. So you don't have to do a rush play, but a set play. You will have time if you can win this draw. You can go for the tie-up and crush in. You can try to win it back and go for a one-timer. Let's see what they do. They win it back. Opportunity down low! And I think he hit the post! What an opportunity!
Heartbreak for Tarity.
Tarity had a huge opportunity. They won it right back. He stepped in. He knew he had time to pick his shot. He picked it. He beat the netminder, Yanitsky, but just could not beat the iron. And we will sit at 3-2 after 2 periods of play. Like I said, I'm going to put the mute button back by the armrest because we're now in cruise control for this game after it was 1-1.
Unbelievably frustrating for SJ Gaming, I think, is the only way that you can sum up the first 5 periods of hockey that we've covered for them so far in this broadcast. Multiple hit posts, opportunities gone wide. That last game in particular, I don't think I've ever seen that many high-quality chances go wide of the net. So far, it just does not seem like it's their day, but they are within striking distance. Tarity not going to be afraid. The bit of patience there to wait. That is just such an unfortunate turn of events. The patience to wait for the Red Sea to part, only to hit the crossbar, only to get so close to salvation, yet to still find yourself down by 1. I don't know what the key for them is right now, aside from composure. We see it with champions in this league. Linköping winning it last year. It was all about composure for them. Staying calm, keep going, shrug it off. We'll see whether or not SJ Gaming is able to do that.
They're down by just 1, and if it hadn't been for an unfriendly bounce off the iron, this could be a tie game as that centering feed goes off of a skate and is just cleared out by Almost Famous as SJ Gaming will retreat and scoop things up in their own end. Interesting, that shot at the buzzer also went off of the leg of Yanitsky that had 2 opportunities to go in. It got an unfriendly bounce off the crossbar and then an unfriendly bounce off the back of the netminder for Almost Famous, but it is 3-2 here. Nice little spinorama by Abali as he gets it into the offensive zone, but has it taken away. Played up on ahead by Almost Famous. Chance for Tizan as he's going to drop it off and has his pocket pick with Sokolo as it's taken away. SJ Gaming trying to get it out of the zone. They do just get it across the blue line, but it's picked back up by Almost Famous, and they have now entered. Sokolo in, looking for that one-timer. It went off the skate of the defenseman and just wide. That side of the net that puck went towards was open because Hitala had read that one-time feed. It was almost plan A didn't work, plan B almost did, and that's kind of been the story of the day so far for Almost Famous. Another rush chance here. Oyamoska trying to center it, but it's taken away and moved up. Abali backhands it in, dumps it in cross ice, and it's chased down and picked up by Keskitalo in the corner. Puck is loose in the slot and picked up and moved out by Tizan, but he's going to be able to get only to center ice before SJ Gaming scoops it up.
Very smart play to dump it back into your own zone rather than going through that quick forechecking battle. The neutral zone battle gives him a chance to reset.
SJ Gaming, that little spin forehand pass towards the slot was intercepted. Makari may have been looking for that feed as he had a teammate crashing in, but here's a breakaway chance the other way. Tizan to the forehand. He lost space. He ran out of room, but the puck's still loose in front, and it is covered up by Hitala, who is managing to save this from going back to being a 2-goal deficit for SJ Gaming. But man, if it if we were playing on maybe an Olympic-sized rink, if he had an extra 10, 15 feet somewhere to work with, that could have been a hat trick for Tizon.
We have found Tizon's Achilles heel, and it is the one-on-one with the goaltender.
Here's another opportunity, skating one-on-one with the defense. Nice move, and the backhand shot goes through the blue paint and towards the corner wide. He is 0 for 2 on the last 2 opportunities here that he's had. Did a great job to get around the defense and beat the goaltender, but could not get the puck to go where he wanted it to. Opportunity on the other end, SJ Gaming trying to set something up, backhanded towards the center. Now that one-time feed turned aside. Great save sliding across the ice by Yanitsky as the puck comes towards the corner. Almost Famous, big bad turnover, the puck down low, and we're going to have a power play. That is what you call a good penalty to take, because getting in was Yakuri. He was all alone down low, and if ever there's a good penalty to take on a trip, in my opinion, it's when something like that happens, when you've got a player who's past you in the low slot area one-on-one with the goaltender.
Big saves and another one there. Big saves for both goaltenders. Ultimately, SJ Gaming finally able to make them pay on one of those turnovers, something that Almost Famous has done spectacularly well through these 2 games.
SJ Gaming, a good opportunity there to start off the power play, but the zone has been cleared by Almost Famous, and they're now moving it back in. This is SJ Gaming getting it back to the D. We'll see if they can set things up from up top, but they try to get it down low, only to have the zone cleared one more time by Almost Famous. Final 40 seconds of this man advantage for SJ Gaming. Nice hit on the forecheck. Some pressure by the shorthanded unit here from Almost Famous. They're only up by 1. They can't just sit back. 5.5 to go. Play back towards the point. D to D, and then thrown on goal and knocked down and covered by Yanitsky. So good work there. Really good puck movement by SJ Gaming with 5 seconds left on the power play.
Yanitsky looking like a different goaltender than what we've seen from him thus far through Almost Famous opening games.
That long shot was turned just aside, and now a rebound opportunity. The centering feed was intercepted and moved out by Almost Famous. They couldn't get too much further than the blue line, though, and it's now played on ahead. Almost Famous trying to get it into the zone, but it's taken right back away. And again, we're back to that battle between the blue lines, between the tops of the circles, to see who can get possession of this puck and set up possession in the offensive end. Another steal, another turnover in the offensive end, but SJ Gaming gets it right back to one-timer, and we're tied! Yakuri is going to knock it in on that one-time feed, and it is now a 3-3 game.
Spectacular play by the center for SJ Gaming. Keskitalo starts it here on the half wall with the poke check. Couple of quick passes, and just like that, SJ Gaming able to make Almost Famous pay for these turnovers. That forechecking pressure from SJ has really been paying off down the stretch here. We started to see the momentum turn on those turnovers throughout the second period. It's finally paying off here for SJ Gaming. Gigantic goal, and I think we can expect that fast and furious pace here down the stretch. We might be destined for OT.
2 minutes, 48 seconds to go. We are all tied up. We're on hat trick watch for one player for each team, and if either can get the hat trick, it could be, very well be, the game-winning goal in this Game 2 of our first doubleheader of the day. Final 90 seconds. That long home run pass was intercepted, taken right back, and then turned back over. As SJ Gaming circling in their own end. That's Obli, has it taken away. Nice move by the centerman. Centering feed. That puck down low, pushed towards the net, but turned aside. Good job by Heath to let us stand tall against the low-down pressure as SJ Gaming goes into the zone offside with 47.5 to go in period number 3.
Another chance for Tizon near the net front, as we are going to see a timeout here from Almost Famous. Probably a pretty smart move at this stage of the game. Face off towards their side of the neutral zone, but very interesting to see how this one is going to play out. I mean, with SJ Gaming, you kind of talk about a team disappointment if they drop both games, but for Almost Famous, if you walk away with a split here, Tizon, there's going to be some frustration there with the chances that he's had. I don't want to say either side's lucky that it's a 3-3 game, but it could be a much higher score.
Yeah, I think that realistically you could make a case for either side being fortunate for this to be 3-3 at this point, just with the opportunities that SJ Gaming has given up in this game to not be down, and the chances that SJ Gaming has had hitting the post towards the end of that second period. They could very well be in the lead as well. Almost Famous could be the ones down. They're in the offensive zone trying to center, but well read and intercepted and moved out by Obli. Played now by Yakuri. Final 27 seconds. The puck is in deep. SJ Gaming trying to take the lead in the closing seconds. The defenseman controlling the play here in the final 20 seconds. Terodi gets it in deep. Yakuri getting it, trying to center. One more pass, a touch pass, final dozen seconds. Yakuri has it poked away towards the boards, but recovers. Can he get the puck back? It's Almost Famous clearing the zone, and they're just going to ice it here with 3 seconds left. And I have been in the building for NHL games where this has come back to bite the team. To be fair, it was the Florida Panthers in the early 2000s. They weren't the best team to be looking at, but one more chance for SJ Gaming. We'll see what they could do. 2.0. Can they win the draw? Tie up. One. Thrown on goal and kicked aside as Yanitsky managed to get the left pad on it at the horn. And we are going to overtime.
SJ Gaming not lacking Finns on their roster. Perhaps they needed a little Olli Jokinen touch there to be able to bury that one. Might have been able to happen. But ultimately, you know, like we were talking about, I'm not necessarily surprised to see this game going to overtime. Thought it might be a 1-1 split going into overtime after how that first period ended. But both teams with A-grade chances. No matter who loses this game, you're going to be disappointed because you had those opportunities. But all of that is in the rear view mirror now. Next goal wins, sudden death overtime coming up. And again, looking at the stats, you might say, okay, SJ Gaming, the deserving winners here. But it's been about, you know, throughout this entire series, the last game that we covered, Almost Famous making the most of their opportunities. They continued to do that in this game. Going to be very intrigued to see how this face-off matchup goes down. I think whatever center is really able to make the most of these opportunities for those extra possessions, that's where we're going to see this play. You know, that's where we're going to really see the winning play, I would say, come from. Although, keeping my eye on Sokolo for Almost Famous. A couple of times there defensively, really helping things out for Almost Famous and nearly turning it into an offensive opportunity.
Really quick chance for Almost Famous to start the overtime period here, but the defense doing a really good job of getting back for SJ Gaming to take that rush chance away. So this is sudden death overtime. SJ Gaming now with an opportunity. Kescatalo spins towards the center, makes the pass. That shot goes off a body and wide. Puck loose behind the net. Kescatalo is there to scoop it up for SJ Gaming, but it's taken away by Almost Famous and played back towards center. Sokolo is there, but now playing and getting it right back. Nice little spin between two defenders, centering feed, and a great job of tying his man up. I believe that was Makari doing that for SJ Gaming to make sure that that centering pass did not have an open target and an offside.
Big missed opportunity. Tizon lost his stick back in the SJ Gaming zone. You stay onside there, you have an odd man opportunity. A big mistake from SJ Gaming.
They do win and control off the draw. We'll see what they can do here. Lazio drops it in. Trying to get an offensive zone set up here is SJ Gaming. Let's see what they could do here. That long shot ends up going just wide for SJ Gaming, and the zone has been cleared by Almost Famous. Backhanded in deep by Abali as he plays it, and it's scooped up by Lazio, and now getting it back a second time, he plays it up and out to Sokolo. Couple of nice passes to get it out of the zone, getting back on side, and then just dumping it around. Nicely chasing it down is Tizon, who pokes it on ahead, but it's scooped up by Terodi, and he's going to clear the zone. Yakuri, backhand pass, nicely done. Kescatalo in the corner, trying to set something up. Backhand it one more time in the corner. Yakuri back. Oh, he was looking to get it back up towards the point, but there wasn't anybody holding the boards there, and it clears back towards center. One more time entering the zone. Centered again, but unable to hold the zone is SJ Gaming. We're now back to that feeling out process here. Terodi, and now played up for Yakuris. He's going to play it on ahead. A delayed penalty coming. That rebound is loose a second time, and it was turned aside and finally touched. And SJ Gaming will have a man advantage as it's Tizon going to the box again for a trip.
The league leader in penalty minutes back to the box. Will it cost his team?
Quick shot ends up going wide for SJ Gaming, and the zone has been cleared by Almost Famous. SJ Gaming trying to set something up here. We'll see what they can do on the power play. They were unsuccessful on their previous man advantage chance. Yakuri, and now it's in deep, trying to center. Quick passes here for SJ Gaming. D to D, down low. Kescatalo gets it behind the net. Back again, D down low, looking for Yakuri, but a really good stick in the lane for Almost Famous. and they get it out. Kescatello getting it in ahead for Makari, rather, and now backhanded out of the zone. And with just 15 seconds left on the power play for SJ Gaming, that should just about do it, and it will for this man advantage as Tizon re-enters the ice, and he gets the puck on the feed as he gets out of the box. Fresh legs, gets it in, chips it around the boards deep, trying to chase it down, but cannot, as SJ Gaming using the body to force that turnover down low. They have to tag back up onside, and now they've entered the zone with 7 minutes to go in the overtime period. Gets in low, puck loose, centering feed, that one-timer turned aside. Another opportunity, walking in and scoring. That game winner is Makari, and that will do it. The overtime winner earns the split for SJ Gaming.
A spectacular job initially on that opening chance from Yaha, but ultimately, again, not able to maintain possession in your own defensive zone, and it comes back to haunt Almost Famous. I think perhaps a little bit deserved that SJ Gaming were able to make the most of that opportunity. If I'm not mistaken, that is Makari's first goal of the season as well. Not a bad way to open up the accounts with a game-winning overtime goal to earn your team a split.
That was a great play, just really great passing. That's something that we saw, especially in that last game. We saw it throughout the doubleheader, but I really think in game 2, the beautiful, quick, crisp passing from SJ Gaming just really stood out to me in that contest.
Absolutely. I mean, overall, you got to be feeling pretty good if you're SJ Gaming at the end of that. Again, you might have felt like that first result was a little bit undeserved. Maybe the scoreboard just a little bit more tilted than you would have wanted to see. But they did a great job of bouncing back. And in particular, what stood out to me in that overtime especially was the ability of Terity and Abali to shut down the behind-the-net play that Almost Famous really relied on for the majority of that 2-game series. Tizon and Sokolo, as we saw, love to get the puck down low, and that extra bit of physicality really paid off. SJ Gaming able to stay out of the box. For Almost Famous, though, I mean, what an interesting 2 games for Tizon. The hero at times, the GOAT at times with the penalties. But for Almost Famous, again, 1 win out of your first 4 games heading into tonight. And you at least get a 1-1 split. It's a building block to pick up a victory and nearly complete the sweep against a team of the caliber of SJ Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, they doubled up their points in the standings in this one game. They got a win and an overtime loss. So now 2, 2, and 2 on the year for Almost Famous. That's literally average on it, but that's they started the day below average, so it's a really good step that they have taken. I was really impressed with them, obviously, in game 1. Tizon, like you said, that the tremendous highs and lows that he brought to that contest for his team was unreal. Just seeing him have 2 multi-goal games and also picking up a really critical penalty in the overtime period. It didn't end up costing Almost Famous the game, but it did basically right after he got out of the box, it did end up leading to that goal for SJ Gaming that ended up being the overtime game winner.
Right. And I mean, you're going to be frustrated. You know, the penalties that he took, and again, it was one of our keys, stay out of the box. You are the league leader in penalty minutes, but you're the league leader in penalty minutes because you have that aggressiveness and that edge in the forecheck, which did lead the goals for Almost Famous. So, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't, but ultimately, I think he'll still walk away a little bit frustrated due to the missed opportunities in a one-on-one situation with Yatala. Spectacular game for him to be able to step up and make those saves for SJ Gaming.
Yeah, he really played fantastic, especially bouncing back from that first game where he gave up 6 goals to stand tall the way he did, to stand up to, even if you are in a position where, like on a couple of those rushes that Tizon had in that game, it was a bit of Tizon missing the net and a bit of the save. It still takes a goalie being in position correctly and playing properly aggressively to force the puck to end up having to go wide because he didn't have anywhere else to go with it.
Exactly. So, you know, as much as you want to pin it on Tizon, as much as he might be frustrated at the missed opportunities, you know, there's another aspect to the play. There's another factor. And like I said, Hietala, a spectacular bounce-back effort. You know, overtime game, maybe not exactly what he would have wanted, but like you said, it is very tough. You know, when you give up that many goals in a game, even if it's not necessarily your fault, we're not playing the goalie blame game here, but it can be tough to bounce back and keep that composure. But that was one of my key points for SJ Gaming in that second game. How are they going to be able to keep their composure? They blow the lead early on. They battle back, though, and get the overtime win. They're going to be feeling pretty good.
It'll be interesting to see what they do going into this second half of our doubleheader of doubleheaders here. SJ Gaming set to take on Checkmate for the next 2 games, because we saw 2 tremendously different results for SJ Gaming, but a lot of what they were successful with in game 2 was there in game 1, just didn't go their way, just didn't get the bounces, didn't get the redirects, didn't get the tips, and had it going, unfortunately for them, the other way, where there were redirects and tips and passes and shots that found their way into spaces and into the net, where it just took a little bit of a chance, and it worked for them in one game, didn't work in the other, but it was there the whole time.
Right, we speculated whether or not they'd change up the strategy. Didn't really look like it. Both teams did throw a couple of different strategies at the other, couple of dump-in attempts that ultimately weren't successful. But very interesting, of course, to see these teams, have these plays in the back pocket, test it out, kind of like a boxer. You work out a couple of jabs there. What happens if I throw over here? What happens if I throw over here? How does the team react? How do they handle that? And ultimately, I think SJ Gaming did find that winning strategy of just, hey, let's stick to our game, do what we know works. Didn't work out in that first game. We'll chalk it up to bad luck. Let's see if it works out in game 2. Ultimately, again, we talked about both teams perhaps being a little bit unlucky to have as few goals as they did. We know these players love to see that inflated point total if they can get it, but a win is a win.
All right, we have been so excited about the way that game went that we were going to take a break, but instead, we're going to stay here with you because there's just been so much to talk about with these games. That was just such a thriller. We basically just walked right through it, so I may just end up having to duck off camera to take a sip of water or something. But this has been a fantastic day of hockey so far. Great competitors on both sides. We're going to have 2 more games featuring SJ Gaming, but we do want to talk about the play of the week because we had a doozy of a game. I'll let you set it up. I'll let you tee this up a little bit because this was an incredible, bold play.
Now, I've had a few honors in terms of, having the ability to call games for the ECL. Again, today, great honor. Happy to be here with you. But we, have seen some things under the ECL bracket, particularly in Elite, that have been jaw-dropping, even by video game standards. And last week, we saw one of those plays. Playmaker of the defending Cup champions, Linköping, pulling off a move where just the audacity of it speaks volumes. So I don't want to say disrespectful, but you have to see it to believe it. Come up with it. Here comes that counterattack, but quickly picked off. I believe that was Janzu who was able to make the play. Loses it back to Eki, the playmaker, the move. A little bit of space between the legs. He buries it. The unbelievable finish, the disrespect, the confidence.
Oi! Oi, mitä tuossa teit? Mitä tuossa teit? Mitä tuossa teit? Mitä sä teit?
Mikä alistus?
Siis koko mies nousi seisomaan. Mitä vettiä?
Ja Ripa laittaa chattiin arvostan.
Mitä? Tiä? Tuu mikään maali. Se oli hieno ESL-maali, mitä mä oon kyllä ikinä nähnyt.
It's a 1-goal game, and he pulls the rabbit out of the hat. Playmaker, you are disgusting. What else can you say? That's it. That's my analysis. Playmaker, you are absolutely filthy.
I mean, what can you say? That was just absolutely just sick. It was an unreal play.
I mean, like I said, I have seen some spectacular goals, game-winning goals, overtime efforts. Just to have that, for the context, if you missed it, that's in the first period. It's a 1-0 game at that point, if I'm not mistaken by the scoreline. It takes a lot of confidence to pull off a play like that. And I don't possibly see who could be any more confident than a member of the defending champions who are off to a spectacular start and who could very well be on their way to defending their title.
That was just we watched it how many times before we actually started this broadcast and just couldn't take my eyes off it seeing it again here. It's just absolutely just I don't know that I could pull that off in game just in general. To be able to do that in competition early in a game when it's still a really tight contest, I think you put it the best way. It takes confidence. You've got to be incredibly skilled, obviously, but the confidence that it takes to do that is just remarkable. As we take a look here at the standings for the Elite League here of the ECL, and you've got the team at the top. They're 6-0. Doesn't get better than that when you're taking a look at the standings. So we've seen some of the teams that we're looking at here. Checkmate's coming up. They're in 7th in the standings right now. SJGaming, 8 games played, now jumping up to 2nd temporarily because of their 10 points in 8 games. So when you're looking at these standings, kind of what category do you separate a team like SJGaming, Checkmate, who we're seeing next, and Almost Famous, who we just got done seeing? Are they all in that contender bracket? Where do they fall, do you think?
I would say that they're all competing for a playoff spot at this point. I mean, you pointed out the top of the bracket, and obviously there is the differential in games played, but Havo Gaming and Linköping in the final last year. Not surprising at all to see them at the top of the standings. But it is early on enough that, you do have some of the new teams, Ghetto Firebirds, Brace Phantoms, Vesa Pampa, all, getting into Elite this year. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but particularly talking about SJGaming, again, 2 extra games played, 4 more games played over Linköping, but again, the top 8 teams make it. If you're on the left side of the bracket, that's where you want to be, regardless of the point differential. You want to see your team on that left side of this standing setup here, and in terms of who's going to be able to sneak in, we talked about it in terms of teams missing out by as little as 2 points last year. It is going to be a very close race. I don't particularly think it's a matter of the haves against the have-nots. Although in the early stages, perhaps you look at unlucky boys. Not to say that they've been unlucky, but, perhaps slightly. But, the competitive level for this league, in terms of who has a shot to make it, you could make an argument for just about everybody.
Yeah, and especially when you're looking even on the right side of the column, when you're taking a look at just the game played differential, a team like Phantoms, 4 points in 4 games, they're right on target to be basically even with Almost Famous, who's now 6 points in 6 games, and just a hair behind a team like Gotham Knights with 6 points in 5 games, and still tons of time still left in this season. This isn't like we're not in the final 2-3 games of this season. We still have tons of time to play. So a lot of time to make that move when you might be a couple points out. Obviously, you want to make that move as quickly as you can, but
right. It's easy to look at Havu or Linköping and be like, okay, yeah, we pretty much know what they're going to be. They don't have much to adjust. But you talk about a team that is, like Almost Famous is a pretty good example. The goals for, goals against being as close as it is. You find your game a little bit, you make a couple of tweaks like we saw Almost Famous do. Again, nearly pulling off the sweep here against SJGaming. It's throughout the season, we're going to see the story of these quick little adjustments, these micro adjustments that could end up paying off and getting a team into the playoffs.
And again, when you're talking about that goal differential, SJGaming, it looks dramatic because of that 8-goal difference, but a lot of that is from that 6-0 win that Almost Famous just picked up off of them earlier on today. So before you factor in that game, today's games, they were still on the minus side, but it was -3, not a minus. What am I doing math-wise? -8 on that one as they currently sit in the standings. Tons of time for them to be played as well. So SJGaming picking up the split in the last game, and right now they're going to be going up against a team known as Checkmate. So we're taking a look at the lineup matchups for you here. What jumps out to you about the way these teams stack up?
Well, the thing that I'm going to be interested by is I've had, the honor of calling a lot of overtime games through the ECL Elite Division thus far.
I know where this is going.
Checkmate's last 4 games, an OT split against the Brace Phantoms and a split against Almost Famous. So be prepared, perhaps, for some extra hockey here. But with this lineup here for Checkmate, there are some familiar names. Mr. Nipsely as well. We're just gonna steamroll past that. There might be a little bit more foreshadowing. There might be a pun on the horizon that I just cannot wait for. But right now, goals for, goals against, just about even. the key here might be the penalty kill, but all in all, it's a little bit too early to tell. They do, I mean, get a lot of shots on, get a lot of hits for the most part, or actually very few hits in fairness, second last in hits. So I'm going to be intrigued. I don't really know what to expect from them. They have some players that are struggling a little bit out of the gates. They're not an overly physical team, but again, decent defensively, decent offensively. I don't really know what to expect from this lineup, especially now that, like I said, you have a team like Almost Famous flip the script. I think that's the great thing about this league is on any given matchup, you can see, a completely different story than what you think is about to play out.
And when you're taking a look at the wingers, the way that they match up, you got to remember, again, the game play differential here when you're looking at the total points or goals or assists. Literally twice as many for SJ Gaming as for Checkmate, because we've got 4 games played. And when you're looking at Niats, it's basically he's averaging almost a goal and an assist per game this season.
It is very impressive headed into this matchup. He was tied for 9th in terms of total assists, tied for 9th in terms of total points as well. I think the key thing here, though, is we often talk about the prowess of wingers and their forechecking ability. Niats leads his team in takeaways. You might expect that to be the center, maybe one of the defensemen. But again, another very defensively responsible team in terms of everyone understanding, like, oh, okay, there's no, at least the idea of how Alex Ovechkin played defense once upon a time, where it's just, oh, you're coasting in the neutral zone. You're not going to worry about it. Teams in this league do understand that it's rotation. And if the defenseman has the better job, it's your job to drop back. And I do think Checkmate do that pretty well. We'll see how that plays out, though, throughout this matchup.
It'll be interesting on the defensive side when you're looking at the way these teams stack up. Just comparing Checkmate to Almost Famous as far as strategies go, on the defenseman side, the defensemen for Checkmate seem to get a little bit more involved offensively, at least before today, than Almost Famous. So maybe you have to approach it a little bit differently. SJ Gaming getting a bit of a taste of their own medicine, perhaps?
Could be. I mean, it is tough to say in a matchup like this, but I mean, the shots are there, as you said. It is relatively close. What's going to be intriguing to me is, the teams that make adjustments and the teams that don't. And we saw it with SJ Gaming. They just kept going with their strategy that worked throughout that matchup. I mean, it didn't necessarily work or it generated the chances. It didn't generate the goals that they would have preferred through that first series or through that first game against Almost Famous, but they stuck with it and they went for it. I'm intrigued, though. When you have 2 teams of a similar style, does one budge and change it up? Or do you just say, okay, let's go head-to-head and see who can get the better of this matchup? I'm hoping that both teams stick with the more offensive defenseman style and let these guys do what they do.
I'm looking forward to seeing some odd man rushes in both directions. I would love to see that. Just get a couple defensemen in deep. Let's see some rushes. Let's get that offense going on both sides. And these centermen, especially when you're looking at just the way that these guys stack up, you got the 6 goals in 4 games for tackle control. Just a really strong player and a big offensive presence for this Checkmate team.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think the key thing, too, to mention here for this Checkmate team, experience in playing together, and they're playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder this season. Last year, they finished 13-13-4, and they missed out on the playoffs via tiebreaker. So we've already talked about quite a bit. Teams just missing out. Both of these sides have a lot to play for, and especially with SJ, you're going to look to complete that sweep here. But when it comes to the center matchup, tackle control right now up there for goals, amongst centers, leading his team in goals as well, which you perhaps don't expect to see from a center. But perhaps most impressively, 57% on the draw compared to Keskitalo's 48% heading into today's game. So again, the center matchup is going to be big.
And if you're taking a look at the last name on the centerman for Checkmate, it's going to stay the same as we switch over to the goalies, because a pair of brothers on the Checkmate side, and that's got to give you, center and goalie, they're not necessarily playing, they're not rushing up ice together, but, you get that little bit of camaraderie and maybe some brotherly rivalry as well, working together on the same team.
You never really know how that's going to play out, right? I mean, so often. How often is it that you see brothers end up on the same team? Mainly in the pro game, of course, often such a rarity here. With this matchup, though, of course, the thing that stands out for me is the save percentages, but we saw with Yatala how he was able to step up and played beyond those numbers. I'm intrigued to see what Yuzuki can do here. We're going to work on that pronunciation. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but we do the best we can here. But very intrigued, and of course Yatala, has that shutout. I mean, again, not an easy thing to do. Of course, always impressed when we see someone have the ability to do that.
So let's take a look at the keys to the game for this one. What do these teams have to do to come away with a win? What does Checkmate have to do to pick up some points against SJ Gaming?
Well, again, I am quite proud of this first key, which is Mr. Napsally. Now, Mr. Napsally, solid player, but no goals through his first 4 games of the season. Very uncommon for a winger to not find the back of the net. Now, he does have the assist. He was a point-of-game player, but imagine where this team could be if he wakes up. They have yet to lose in regulation heading in to tonight's games. Tackle control, and the Yachts have 9 of the team's 10 goals. Key number 2, pretty straightforward, protecting the castle. Checkmate doing a great job of protecting their goalie, allowing just 10 shots per game. Would have been even lower, of course, had they not gone to overtime in all 4 games that they have played thus far. And as we alluded to this earlier, the big physical difference between these two teams, SJ Gaming ranked 2nd with 95 hits heading into today's games. Checkmate 2nd to last with only 28 hits. This stat really stands out. Keskitalo for SJ Gaming, 31 total hits. Again, Checkmate with just 28 on the season. So we talked about the defensemen. How much are they going to get involved? It's perhaps a little bit more of a risk for Checkmate to get those defensemen involved because of the physical style of play from SJ Gaming. Much more likely to see those turnovers that could ultimately, see the goal on the other end. Not exactly what you want. Of course, for SJ Gaming, too, a few too many breakaway opportunities given up against Almost Famous. They're going to want to tighten up in that aspect.
I just have to point out in the chat, your Mr. Napsally nickname pun is going over very well. It seems to be very well enjoyed by everybody, so we appreciate you watching and giving the feedback. And as someone who finished 2nd in my elementary school chess tournament one time, castling, yes, that is a good chess term. It's the move when you cross the king with the rook, as long as it doesn't go through check. So that is a good job. It's a way of protecting the king, is to castle. So I appreciate that pun as well, as someone who once lost to someone in chess, but beat other people in chess to finish 2nd. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. We've seen 2
I was
games
more of a
so far.
checkers man myself.
More of a check. Oh, so you're doing the double jump and all that stuff and moving backwards.
Yeah. No, I may have been alleged to have cheated at a game of checkers once, but
How do you cheat at checkers?
I don't know. But if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right?
How do you get? No, because there's only so many pieces, and if you take your opponent's pieces, usually you keep them because you have to be able to king the other. That's
different rules in terms of jumping.
We're gonna have to go over this.
Yeah, no, we could talk about this later. Perhaps it's like Monopoly, where if you land on free parking, you get money, but some people say, no, that's not how you play the game. So what are you doing?
You use house rules. That's really what it comes down to, is that there's house rules that you use that are unique. It's, but anyway, we've got some we're not playing checkers. We're not playing chess. We are having fun. We've got some ECL elite level hockey here for you as we take a look at the jersey matchup. I always enjoy seeing the way that these designs are done, so I'm impressed with the Checkmate one as well. I like the king holding the hockey stick. That's very well very well done.
There are some spectacular, we'll call them visual artists throughout the NHL gaming community. Some of their fine work on display there.
And you see the goals, 4 goals against, Checkmate, even on the season. That's what happens when you are 2-0-2 with all 4 of your games going to overtime. Your goal differential is going to be 0 because you split it, always winning by 1, always losing by 1. We will see if SJ Gaming can perhaps change the way that has gone. They're going to be the team in the black and red. Checkmate, the team wearing the light-colored uniforms, and we are ready for game 1 of 2 as we get ready to start game or doubleheader number 2 here. SJ Gaming looking to win the draw off the bat against Checkmate, but Checkmate goes in for the tie-up, and moving in is Niats. Quick turnover down low, taken away nicely by Terody, and now passed over to his defensive partner. Abali is going to bank it off the boards. I think that was just out of reach of Terody on that pass attempt, as Checkmate will restart in their own end. I also appreciate that their uniforms look like they're designed after chess pieces. They're basically Usually the
good
team
catch.
that wears white goes first in chess, but here they're getting their rush attempt. This is one of their first offensive zone tries, setting up. That's tackle control with it. Has it poked away, gets it right back, and pokes it up to the D. That long shot generates a rebound. It's still loose in front, but Mr. Nipsey just could not get a hold of it. Centered again. Nice feed there by Niats, but it's taken away by SJ Gaming as they clear the zone and move on ahead. Battle in the neutral zone, so we'll see if they have that feeling out period that we've seen a good bit today. Puck now offensive zone stepped up. Stepping in is Teradies. He's going to try to step in with it and has it taken away from him by Checkmate. Checkmate moving out with it. That's what did we decide that was? McKay Axel, right? Is that what we decided?
I believe it's McKay Axel, if I'm not
Axel.
mistaken.
I can't read my own handwriting, but this is what we have. The puck thrown on net and turned aside by Hitala, and now turned out and up as SJ Gaming trying to get out of the zone. Good two-person forecheck here for Checkmate. They're going with that high pressure on the forecheck early on. We saw in that last doubleheader, a lot of time against SJ Gaming was just one as they are offside, trying to back skate into the offensive zone, creates that offside opportunity. So an interesting start. Anything that's jumped out to you here as we're about a third of the way through period number one?
Couple of big saves for each goaltenders being tested early on. Nearly another chance there. Hiatala made a big save. Testing, I believe it's Uitsky's name. We'll get a hold of that eventually. Some of the names, But testing Uitsky's ability to go butterfly, which so often goaltenders do not do. So I'd keep an eye on that for Checkmate, as SJ Gaming might be able to capitalize on their goaltender not going down to protect the bottom half of the net.
Checkmate getting out of their defensive zone and now into the offensive zone. Nice little spin pass to try to get it in deep, but it was well read and intercepted by Keskitalo as that forces the puck back towards center ice. Checkmate again recovering in their own end as they try to move out with it. 9 minutes to go in period number one as they will just dump it in deep. Dump and chase doesn't often work in 6v6 online, as that basically just results in allowing SJ Gaming to get the puck deep in their own end and prevents a turnover essentially at center ice. That quick shot from just around the goal line is turned aside and covered and held by Uitsky for that whistle. So apologies for any of the names that basically may be said incorrectly. Trying to learn as we go with pronunciations here on this one. Nice little tie-up off the draw. Quick chance for SJ Gaming. The puck's still loose in front, but it ends up in the corner and then banked off the boards. Scooped up by Keskitalo, getting it back up top now to the D. That long shot. Rebound opportunity was turned aside. A really good chance for SJ Gaming, and they still hold pressure in the offensive zone. That one banked off a body towards the corner. Nice little check in the corner. A huge hit against the defenseman, but a quick goal by SJ Gaming as sweeping in to take advantage of the space was Yakuri, and that makes it a 1-0 game.
I calls it as I sees it, Drew, as indeed Uitsky gets beat on the short side, doesn't go butterfly, at least not in time, and it comes back to Hanem. They test that short side, that quick drive to the net. A little bit too much space there for Yakuri, as he's able to get it and bank it off of the back. Again, not hugging the post, not manually going butterfly. The space was there. Uitsky gets beat. Big moment there for SJ Gaming after hitting just another post. I've lost track at this point, just a few moments before.
We have seen a lot of those, but it is now a 1-0 lead for SJ Gaming. A pair of assists given out on that goal as well. And I thought at first that it was one of the Checkmate defensemen that had delivered that hit up top that generated that space, but it was just a wing. As a really quick response opportunity for Checkmate. That was a backhand shot that goes on goal, but is turned aside by Hitala. Another opportunity as they still have maintained zone pressure, but that long shot from the point goes off of a defender in front and is knocked down, and SJ Gaming able to clear the zone. But again, another whistle for an offside. I believe that's the second or third whistle we've had for offside already in this first period for this contest. So a 1-0 lead for SJ Gaming. They jumped out to a 1-0 lead early on in the last game that we saw, one that resulted in a 1-goal overtime victory for them against Almost Famous. They gave up the first goal in our first game to Almost Famous. That was a 6-0 shutout loss that SJ Gaming suffered in that contest. So we'll see if SJ Gaming able to make it 3 for 3 with team scoring first, coming away with the win in our doubleheader of doubleheaders today. Final 2 minutes of the first period, and Checkmate just making some back and forth passing, trying to get it out of the zone. And that long pass was intercepted by Abali. And the puck now once again scooped up by SJ Gaming in the neutral zone, played back. And now moving on ahead and out of the zone. Obli entering off onside in the offensive zone. That quick little one-time feed down low to Obli, but it was turned aside. Good job on that one for the netminder for Checkmate to get across the crease and get there in position to make that save. Final 6.5 seconds here. Quick tie-up off the draw by SJ Gaming, but it's Checkmate moving out with it. 1 second, last shot, goes on goal, and is turned aside, and that will do it for the first period of play. So a 1-0 lead for SJ Gaming is picking up his third goal of the day. Is Yakuri picking up that marker, getting SJ Gaming off to that quick start. And there was that late save, getting that glove across, going across the crease. He actually didn't get physically all the way across the paint, but he got that glove stretched out enough to make the save.
A good bounce-back save for Uiski, for sure. I mean, again, that was a spectacular individual effort from Obali of SJ Gaming to create that chance. And as we pointed out, Tarady, the left defenseman for SJ Gaming, was kind of our key focal point here, someone who has been a point-per-game defenseman in the past. But Obali really stepping up. Very impressed with him thus far. Intrigued to see, though, what Checkmate are going to be able to do in terms of bouncing back into this one. Again, we saw that little bit of a feeling out process, as we so often do through the neutral zone game. But very interested in seeing the stretch pass attempt to Nipsley down that right-hand side, at least from our viewpoint, Checkmate's left, to try and find those long breakout passes. We'll see whether or not they're able to make the most of those, but so far so good from SJ Gaming in terms of keeping their eye out and not being too aggressive, at least from the defenseman standpoint.
Shots, hits, time of possession in the offensive zone, basically all even across the board, but 1-0 in favor of SJ Gaming as Checkmate wins the draw to start period number 2. Loose puck coming all the way back into the Checkmate end where it has to be played up as they will try to set things up. Look at that forecheck there, just playing all three forwards inside the offensive zone on that forecheck. That was interesting. SJ Gaming going with that pressure as they force Checkmate offside. You basically get to see that little stack playing that triangle pressure off on the forecheck for SJ Gaming, trying to force Checkmate into making a bad pass, maybe a turnover, or maybe just making the pass that they don't want to have to make. That's kind of an interesting strategy offensively, or at least when they're on the forecheck for the forwards for SJ Gaming. SJ Gaming in their own end, about 2.5 gone by in period number 2. Some D-to-D movement, and now moving out of the zone. Nice little dangle that results in basically a pass for SJ Gaming. That long pass down low turns into a shot, but is easily turned aside by Uiski. Checkmate trying to enter the offensive zone, but great job by SJ Gaming just holding the blue line strong. And now that forecheck again. You see all three of those forwards right around the puck, playing that little triangle shape, doing a great job of pressuring Checkmate in their defensive end when they have the puck. It doesn't allow them to start up ahead and maybe set up plays that they might be looking to try to do. SJ Gaming entering onside. That is Tarady, who's entering with the rush, but has it taken away, and Checkmate now moving out with it. How do you combat something like that when you've got such a heavy forechecking presence for SJ Gaming if you're Checkmate?
There has to be that willingness to try something different, whether it be the dump and chase or not. And it's been a little bit tough. It's been tough for me to get a word in edgewise here because every time you think there might be a slowdown, SJ Gaming right back in on the counterattack as we're seeing now. But there have been a couple of close calls for Checkmate in terms of nearly taking advantage of a puck down low and forcing a turnover on a forecheck of their own. I think that's really going to be where their opportunities open up because right now, in terms of leading their own breakout, the space just has not been there. As you see the trap, all 5 men back for SJ Gaming.
Checkmate gets it into the offensive end, only to lose possession. Makari doing a really great job just inside that blue line, just between the blue line and the top of the circle, of making sure to get possession away from Checkmate in the defensive end. Great steal, good pressure in the offensive end, forces a turnover by Checkmate, but they get it back and do skate it out of the zone successfully. They would be offside. They've got to touch back up. They get possession of the puck. Now having to circle back. There's that. Just look at the way that they are structured, SJ Gaming, on when they do not have the puck. It's really impressive
there it is.
Just looking at them. There's that opportunity. The puck in the slot, the shot, and it's in. Checkmate comes away with the goal, and that has tied things up. A really quick move. And Checkmate on the board. That's Niats picking up the marker.
I called it out just moments ago. I have to admit I am quite proud of myself. But again, there you see the opportunity. The space was there. Get the puck in deep, capitalize off of a turnover. Completely caught Hiatala off guard So they make the most of the opportunity, and just like that, they are back in this game. But there you go. Again, the difference in trying something different, getting different looks. Sometimes sticking to the well pays off. Sometimes changing it up, catching an opponent off guard, pays off there.
So we are back even. It is 1-1, 2/3 of the way here through the second period of play. SJGaming now resetting in their own end. Long bank pass is successful, but they cannot get into the offensive end. Checkmate with it, trying to move it out. D-to-D passing, bad turnover. Yakuri in deep, spins backhander, and it's kicked aside by the right pad. Another opportunity, D-to-D, and that nicely blocked by Mr. Nipsely in the shooting lane, getting the knee down and turning it aside. But what a chance for SJGaming as they try to bounce back and take the lead back.
I thought there was going to be another chance there, and still another turnover. Again, tough to get a word in edgewise with this pressure from SJGaming. Huge save by Uiski, the biggest of the game thus far.
Checkmate moving out, now moving in offensively. There they are in the high slot area, but again, that defense just swarming in and taking the puck away. SJGaming moving out with it. Now getting it back to the D as they're going to move it on ahead. Nice couple passes. Another opportunity. That one-time feed, it's turned aside. SJGaming just relentless with the offensive chances. That long shot dies in traffic, but they can't clear the zone. Again, gets in deep and now banked around the boards. Checkmate pushed up against the boards. They cannot get it out of the zone. Can they finally move it? Just trying to get some kind of space to move with the puck. SJGaming, huge pressure here in the final 10 seconds. Checkmate finally getting the puck across their own blue line and out of the zone. And Checkmate enters, long shot, turned aside, and that is it for a very eventful second period.
Uiski by far the key player of that game. It'll point out the ads here for the hits. Uiski was fantastic in that period, stealing this game for Checkmate, keeping them in this. Very, very interesting to see how that has ultimately played out. SJGaming, I thought they were going to work a strategy where they were going to try to keep, forcing it down low, try to get it extremely close to the net, and take advantage of Uiski not going butterfly. But with them trying other aspects, with them trying different strategies, that being SJGaming, of throwing the puck on nets, trying these different plays, Uiski is thriving when he has the ability to track the puck, as opposed to just, I kind of got to decide, do I go butterfly here and risk opening up those opportunities, which I thought, again, is what SJGaming was going to go for. Get the puck to the net, force him to go butterfly, freak him out, that opens up the passes. But right now, Uiski's playing with confidence, despite that early goal. And again, right now, the key player for Checkmate, arguably the best player in this game, but it is still up for grabs as we start the third period.
What an exciting second period of action, and it is now 1-1, so anybody's contest in the final 20 minutes here as SJGaming enters on side, but turns the puck over just inside the blue line. Still right back, taking it in the corner, and now behind the net, where SJGaming pressing with two players, and that forces a turnover up high. Perhaps a long shot, D-to-D passing, setting something up. Nice little body check by Checkmate, forces a loose puck momentarily. SJGaming gets right back, moving in, centered! The puck is still loose, and it is finally covered up. Checkmate doing a great job there. Again, it's Uiski playing great in net. Just that great recovery he's had since giving up that one goal earlier in the first.
Abeli drives the net, nearly finds Makari on that loose puck scramble. I expect more of that from SJ here throughout this third period.
There's that relentless pressure on the forecheck. Checkmate trying to get out of the zone. They finally do. Long pass. Opportunity. Centered, perhaps. Goes through the blue paint behind the netminder and ends up going wide. Niats had an opportunity. And here's a long breakaway pass. Backhander turned aside. End-to-end action here in this contest. And we remain 1-1. Checkmate again moving up. Can they get something going yet again? Still with possession in the offensive end. What are they doing here? Tackle control. Gets it back to the D. D steps in. Gets it back for tackle control down low. Taken away by the SJGaming defense. Terody, and now a long pass. No icing on this play as it's scooped up. Spinning backhand wraparound, and the puck is still loose. Taken back, and now a whistle. Finally, we're going to have a penalty called in the offensive end against SJGaming. That is one that you cannot take in that kind of a position.
Maybe a bit of frustration from Yakuri after not being able to bury it on the breakaway. Checkmate, though, back in possession.
We'll see what they can do here with the man advantage set up in the offensive end, but a nice position steal by Terody, forcing the turnover and sending it 200 feet, the full length of the ice, all the way down. That'll kill off the first 40 seconds or so of this man advantage for Checkmate. Trying to enter, but having to stay onside. They finally get in. Here's an opportunity. Big body check along the boards. Another penalty is coming, sent towards the net and touched by SJ Gaming. It is now 5-on-3 as Abali is going to end up going to the box. So one of the defensemen now out for SJ Gaming. We'll see if Checkmate can take advantage. They win the draw, 5-on-3, skating for another 45 seconds. Centered, now trying to move down low, taking their time, trying to look for something. Big one-time feed, turned aside, rebound is loose in front. Another chance, kicked away and cleared out by SJ Gaming, and that will kill off the 5-on-3 portion of this man advantage. Checkmate will still have a power play as one player, Yakuri, getting back on the ice. We'll see what they could do here. Checkmate back in the offensive end. May have been looking for that D-to-D pass. It was well read by Yakuri, and getting in that passing lane, forces it down low. Loose puck in front, pushed aside, pushed wide. Niats had the chance, and it's cleared all the way down the ice by SJ Gaming with just seconds remaining in the Checkmate power play. So a great job on the penalty kill to bend, don't break for SJ Gaming. They've given up chances as we have an offside with 2 seconds left on the man advantage, but they have not given up that power play goal. So really good job, bend, don't break by SJ Gaming. Really great pressure by Checkmate, though, with this power play, this extended power play.
Checkmate's power play looked better than I would have expected. 11th out of 16 teams in the league at 16.67% heading into today. But again, SJ Gaming, we talked about it. Picture perfect penalty kill. I don't believe they're giving up a power play goal today, which means they are still at 100% despite visiting the box the most out of any other team in the league.
Final 8.5 minutes of period number 3. It is a 1-1 game. One more time. Checkmate, 4 games played this year. All 4 has gone to overtime. SJ Gaming trying to break the tie here in regulation. The puck thrown towards the net, but cleared out by Checkmate. Recovered by Terody, and now played to his defensive partner. Long pass up. Kescatalo had possession momentarily, gets it in deep, and it's played on ahead. Loose puck, battled for in the corner, taken by Checkmate. They're going to play it on ahead, clearing the zone, skating out with it, trying to generate some kind of space. They're going to go with a cross-ice dump, but it's played and then turned over. Checkmate down low, trying to center. A really good opportunity for Mr. Nipsely, but he ends up turning it over. He had possession as we had a huge body check right around center ice. Opportunity for SJ Gaming. That quick little one-time shot gets blocked in front. I don't know if it reached the goaltender or not, but here we go the other way. Checkmate with a chance. Down low, a rebound chance, another opportunity as it was kicked aside and loose, but scooped up by SJ Gaming's defenseman. That's Terody with it. Backhands it, tries to get it out of the zone, but turns it over. Final 3 minutes of this period. What will happen here? Terody moving up with it. Long pass, gets it out of the zone. Makari. And now entering the offensive zone. SJ Gaming with the bad turnover there. Mr. Nipsely again taking it away just above, maybe in the high slot area, just above the circles, as it's sent all the way back into the Checkmate end. Final 90 seconds of this third period. We are tied at 1. Are we headed to overtime yet again for the second game in a row for us and 5th in a row for Checkmate? SJ Gaming with the steal in the defensive end, moving out with it. Yakuri making some nice moves to keep the puck away from the defense and keep it away from the pressure. Nicely setting up in the offensive zone is SJ Gaming. Turnover, though, in the corner. Great steal by Nipsely, forcing the turnover on the right side of your screen, and it moves the other way. Final 35 seconds of the period. Do we have a regulation tiebreaker coming our way? Makari with the steal. Moves in. Pushed off the puck. Gets it back. Over to the defenseman. Abali in the corner. Moves it. It's still loose behind the net. Yakuri centering feed towards the goal line. The rebound was again poked wide. Another opportunity. SJ Gaming shot. Blocked by traffic in front. And Checkmate clears the zone with 13 seconds to go in the third period. Final 10 seconds. One last rush for SJ Gaming, but they turn it over just inside the blue line. And just trying to kill off that time is Checkmate as we are going to overtime yet again. It is 1-1. It's a game involving Checkmate. You knew it was going to go to overtime.
Surprise, surprise. For the 5th time in as many games, Checkpoint goes to OT, but every point matters. For SJ Gaming right now, as we head into this overtime, I think the key for them, flat out, keep doing what you're doing. I could see any single one of them making an individual effort, although Makari's been pretty sneakily quiet in this game. For Checkmate, though, the key player for me down the stretch there in the third period was Mr. Nipsley, having the opportunities to either pull the trigger on a shot or make that extra pass. It just didn't come together. But despite the stats, truly, this is anybody's game right now. Very intrigued to see how this is going to go down.
Sudden death OT, and we are underway as SJ Gaming wins off the draw. They try to skate it back a little bit, maybe generate some space, see what they're going to do on a forecheck for Checkmate. Nice possession in the offensive end. Long shot from the point, and it is kicked aside. A really good opportunity for Terody as it got through traffic, but was turned away, and the rebound ended up going wide. SJ Gaming resetting in their own end, trying to make a couple passes. They've been really good today with making those nice, crisp, quick passes. Here on the backhand was Yakuri, but turned aside, maybe hit the side of the net with that shooting opportunity. Puck ends up back at center ice, but SJ Gaming again regaining possession and gets it right back into their offensive end. Checkmate picking things up, getting it out, and finally will skate it into the offensive end. What can they do here? Nice little poke check there on the back check by Kescatalo, getting that puck loose and forcing it towards the corner. SJ Gaming one more time trying to set things up, seeing if maybe they can get an opportunity here. Centered one more time, a rebound. It's still loose in front, and it's taken away by Checkmate. A couple of really nice opportunities for SJ Gaming down low and icing against Checkmate. So, wow, a lot of pressure so far from SJ Gaming in this overtime period.
Very impressed with the back checking for SJ Gaming, in particular Kescatalo right now, generating those extra offensive opportunities, those extra possessions.
SJ Gaming controls off the draw. Now a battle for the puck, won by Checkmate. Really good job of staying with it and forcing the turnover. Speaking of forcing turnovers, there's Makari with it. Gets it back to the defense. That's Terody over to his partner, Abali. Abali dancing around a couple of attackers. Very nicely done. Didn't have to do a lot, but the couple little moves that he made gave him some space momentarily, but Checkmate gets it back in deep. Abali with it. Lose it towards the center. We're going to have another delayed penalty coming against Checkmate this time. We will see what they do on the delayed penalty. Can they capitalize here? No, it's touched by Checkmate. We're going to have a 2-minute power play for SJ Gaming, so a chance for them to perhaps win it with the extra attacker, with the man advantage here in OT.
Checkmate, the worst penalty kill in the league right now.
Kescatalo wins the key draw. Opportunity, Yakuri throws it on goal, turned aside. The rebound from the goal line, put on goal, but covered up for the whistle. Really nice job there, not just for that first chance, but positionally for SJ Gaming, having the player down low to get that second chance opportunity. But again, Uiski getting across and making the stop to keep this game going. Nice steal by SJ Gaming. Down low is Yakuri. Backhand pass. Kescatalo, centering feed, gets it back. Kescatalo takes a shot, turned aside and covered up by Uiski. And that will draw another whistle with just over a minute to go in this power play chance for SJ Gaming. Another face-off to the left of Uiski. The blocker is covering the bigger side of the net, so we'll see if they can do something with that off the face-off. But Checkmate wins the draw in the defensive zone. Quick steal, though, is made by Makari. Puck battled for in the corner, and nice job of clearing it out. Terody got over trying to pin up against the boards, but could not maintain zone presence and possession with the puck. Final 20 seconds of the power play. One more rush for SJ Gaming, but it's nicely cleared out by Checkmate all the way down the ice, and that will do it for this overtime power play. Final 9 minutes
kill.
of OT. Really good job of holding against that pressure. Another opportunity. Yakuri down low, takes the shot, turned aside and covered up by Uiski. A really quick 2-on-0 developed that generated basically a breakaway for Yakuri. And what a stop made against the most prolific goal scorer for SJ Gaming.
Just when you think you're going to have a chance to compliment Checkmate on their defensive abilities, they give up another prime quality chance like that.
Checkmate getting into the offensive zone here. We'll see if they can generate a prime offensive scoring chance of their own. Final 7 minutes of overtime. D-to-D pass. That long shot did not make it all the way through and was knocked down instead. Yakuri was just trying to force his way and will his way down through the slot, but turned things over. Now on the forecheck, can they force a turnover? Checkmate going D-to-D with this puck, trying to create some kind of space. They finally do and get it out. Niats moving it out of the zone and into the offensive zone, but it's taken away by SJ Gaming. Niats will get it right back at the red line. Final 5 minutes of this overtime period. What will happen here? SJ Gaming forces the turnover, makes the steal, skating it out of the zone, poked free. Can they get into the offensive zone successfully? Yakuri does, but loses it just inside the blue line. Bang pass, very nicely done, and Checkmate with a potential rush here. Chance, feed in front, the backhander, and they threw it just wide. Nipsely threw it a little bit wide of the net. He had a chance on that backhand shot, but he missed the net by a couple feet. The other way, SJ Gaming from the slot, that pass down low. Abali was looking for the feed, and now it's centered in front. That puck just been thrown into the blue paint over and over by SJ Gaming. But again, Uiski has made the saves he's needed to. Chance the other way, and Checkmate has scored. Game, set, match, knock the king over. Checkmate picks up the win in overtime.
You were begging for that one, I know. What a spectacular bit of puck possession. I believe that was from Make Axel there, the defenseman stepping up and making the play. Indeed, it was. Look at this bit of possession and that move to create the space, get back to the boards. Unfortunately for Hiatala, I guess he assumed the pass was coming. The space was absolutely there, but a great bit of patience on display from the center. Tackle control. He buries the game winner, and all in all, a great effort from Checkmate, again, walking away with another overtime victory. Again, 5 overtimes through 5 games, but they have a winning record throughout. Unfortunate result for SJ Gaming. I mean, you look at that shot total, doubling their average shot total for the season thus far, keeping Checkmate below their average. But ultimately, job well done, Checkmate. A spectacular job to walk away with that victory and to set you up for perhaps the line of the day.
Yeah, that was impressive. I mean, tackle control coming in, just getting into position. But yeah, that rush, just really great job of getting in. That was an incredible move just to get onside into the zone and then to make that feed to tackle control, just fighting a goaltender out of position, not trying to get too fancy with it. He saw the goalie commit and he found the spot that was open. Now 7 goals for him on the season in 5 games and 8 points, which unless Niats had a goal. So Niats still holding the team lead in points, now up to 9 for him on the year. So SJ Gaming gets another point. So not an offer in that game, but with the opportunities that they had, that would have been a game that you would have liked to see. And that's kind of the story of the day so far for SJ Gaming, is with the performance they had been putting up offensively, defensively through that game. If you're SJ Gaming, you would have liked to have seen getting 2 points in the standings out of that.
Every point matters. We talked about that, before that game in the pregame, looking at the standings, looking at how close it was already, and, safely presuming that it's going to continue to be that close of a race. Again, last year we saw teams miss out by 2 points. We saw teams miss out on the playoffs via tiebreaker. It really can be that close when you're talking about teams of this caliber. But like you said, for SJ Gaming, 4-2 record heading into today, perhaps not where you wanted to be in terms of the momentum building that you really want to have in the early stages of this season. Again, some bad luck on occasions, not making the most of some opportunities. You think back to your Curry's breakaway. Again, though, a spectacular save. And I think, key player for me there is something we really haven't done. But, I mean, if I had to name a player of that individual game, it's Uiski. He made some spectacular saves after being beaten early. And that's the one thing that's really impressive to me, is that he didn't really start to panic. There were a couple of scrambling moments, but that happens with both goaltenders when you have that much traffic in front. But ultimately, he gets beat early on. He doesn't go butterfly, and he pays for it. But from there, I mean, rock solid back there,
yeah.
Tracking the puck extremely well and making some very difficult stops to keep his team in it.
Yeah, I mean, he literally shut them down after the first, 4 minutes of game time?
3 or 4 minutes into the first period, yes.
Yeah,
so.
And then it was a 2-1 overtime win for his team. So yeah, I have no issue with saying that he was the one of the stars of the game, maybe the first star of the game, at the very least second star of the game, if you're going to say the game-winning goal should maybe earn that. But yeah, it just really solid performance out of him. If you're SJ Gaming, because we saw them do on their forecheck, that was kind of what impressed me the most, because they managed to get the 5-player trap back on defense when the puck was towards their own blue line. but when the puck was in the offensive zone and they did not have possession, their defensemen would get back, and they would have 3 forwards, all of them, really close to the puck, really just playing it was almost like watching, like if they were defending a 5-on-3 in their own end, but in the offensive end with their pressure. How do you turn that? Because it generated opportunities, it generated chances. How do you turn that into goals, though? How do you turn that pressure into goals? Do you maybe back off a little bit on that and try to change where you're making those steals and those turnovers? Or are you just going, you know what, we're doing the right thing, it's just not going in for us?
I think, again, their strategies are being tested, and we saw that again in the first game where it's like, okay, it feels like we're doing the right thing. We're getting these chances. It's just not going in. I can't help but think they are going to stick with that strategy. It is a credit to Make Axel and Vilho, who we really didn't mention that much, but when you have more, and we talked about it, whether or not the Checkmate defense would be a little bit more offensively involved. Towards the end, we saw that with the spectacular move from Make Axel to set up the game-winning goal on that primary assist. But for the most part, I felt like they were staying back a little bit more. They were incredibly solid back there. For SJ Gaming, in terms of playing your game, again, first game of tonight, it didn't work out for them. Second game, it did. So I think they're going to continue going with that, because in terms of what you would expect to see on the other end, like the counterbalance to that would be, Checkmate's going to get a lot of odd man rushes. I didn't really see that. I don't really recall that. Maybe I'm wrong on that front, but I thought Teradi and Abali did such a great job of getting back. Like you mentioned, them being back there, you can afford to go with that strong forecheck, because those counterattacks aren't going to be, at best it's a 3-on-2, but your defensemen have been incredibly solid.
The defensemen played great for SJ Gaming in both ends too, because in that offensive zone when they set up the rush, not maybe as much as we saw against Almost Famous with getting down low and trying to be the ones to quarterback and set up the plays, but really solid in that game for both sides, and the defenseman on both sides. So as we take a look at Hitala, what does he have to do here? He had a really good game. It was an unfortunate commitment to a move that didn't happen for the overtime winner that he gave up, but he hasn't, aside from that first game that we saw today, he hasn't been anything other than really solid today.
It's tough to say that he really has to make any adjustments. That last goal, you might be a little bit tempted to start overcommitting, maybe trying to make the jump, which is what happened there. But like you said, he's been incredibly solid positioning for the most part. He's been fine. The only time that he's really been in trouble are these scramble plays in front. So I think if SJ Gaming can limit that, give him time to get proper positioning, you're still going to be good to go.
Checkmate now the team in black as they have possession first. That really quick shot is gloved down and held by Hitala. Really good opportunity there to get that really quick pressure. We've seen SJ Gaming do that quite a bit today, but really just right off that opening faceoff, just to rush in, break in, and get a quick shot to see if maybe they could test their luck. Checkmate again winning the draw. This is their second faceoff win of game number 2 of our second of 2 doubleheaders, and the one-time feed is a goal. Just like that, Checkmate really quickly picking up the marker, and it is now a 1-0 game just moments into this opening period.
Tackle control ends the last game and starts off the scoring in this one. The sweet feed from Mr. Nipsley. He looked for that exact play quite a few times in the last game. SJ Gaming doing a great job of shutting that down. Unfortunately here, it just didn't happen. With Hitala, tough to stop that one. The first save was great. Again, an example of when you give him time to set up, but that play there, that's just a bad defensive breakdown for SJ Gaming.
And now, Checkmate one more time entering the offensive zone. They have controlled the puck through the first 2 minutes of this game. It's led to a 1-0 lead. A turnover, though, and SJ Gaming unable to clear the zone. Here's a chance. One-time feed yet again turned aside, swallowed up by Hitala on that another one-time pass that was just thrown solidly on net. Hitala getting across and making the save on that one.
Bailing his team out. SJ Gaming need to tighten up here. 3 minutes gone by. You've already given up some quality chances.
First face-off win of the day for SJ Gaming, or of this game, rather, for SJ Gaming. Doesn't result in an offensive chance, though, as they turn it over just inside the opposing blue line. Now trading possession back and forth just a bit as the puck comes back towards the point. SJ Gaming gets it down low. It was in the slot and well defended by Checkmate, cleared all the way down, but not enough for an icing. So we continue to play here with 5 minutes gone by in period number 1. Really impressed with the way Checkmate has basically built off of the energy of winning in overtime to turn it into another really strong period of performance here in this opening frame of game number 2. Nice pressure and a steal. Can Checkmate get something going? Really good pressure from Mr. Nipsley on that play.
You know, if you didn't see that first period or that first game and we told you that, oh yeah, the SJ Gaming controlled the play, you might call us crazy because it has been all Checkmate to the first 8 minutes.
100%. And Mr. Nipsley banking around the boards, gets it in down low. Nice little board pin. Nipsley with it, gets it back up to the D. Now charging in deep is Make Axel. Long shot, knocked down. Very well read by Kescatalo. And he just grabs it right off his stick and makes the pass to clear the zone. One more time, though, SJ Gaming unable to get anything set up in the offensive end. Now only pressing 2 with 2 players. The center was back for SJ Gaming on that forecheck. On that last one there, was at least playing a little bit deeper than we had seen. Now an opportunity here on a rush, setting something up. Can they get something on goal? No. Nicely defended by Checkmate, and it's cleared out of the zone and sent all the way down. Nice hold, D-to-D pass. That long shot generates a rebound in front, and diving on it to cover up is Hitala, as he has been tested and tested and tested so far in this first period.
Rough turnover for Abilene. Did well in the offensive zone, trying something different with a slap shot on net, but a brutal turnover there, trying to skate it up the middle in his own zone.
Another face-off win for Checkmate. D-to-D pass, now getting in deep is Villo. Nice little centering feed, but it's taken away by SJ Gaming. Good thought on that one, but that one did not result in a shot. SJ Gaming now trying to move in. The defenseman in deep. Puck is loose right around the paint, but it's poked wide. Still loose. That centered one-time shot goes wide. Missed the net. Nice little job. You saw the move by Uiski to try to get across and make the save, but it missed the net entirely. So he did basically, I don't know, the top half of the net was open on that one, but he just missed the net by a few feet.
An unfortunate miss, perhaps surprised not to see another hit post. That's just been the luck as it's gone today for SJ Gaming. But a good opportunity, perhaps something to build upon as we see both defensemen, Interity and Abele, jump up into the play a little bit more.
Defensive zone draw for SJ Gaming. Checkmate with the tie-up, swooping in. That quick shot goes on goal and is turned aside. Niat's getting the opportunity as he read that face-off win and just moved in to take the puck on that set play. Opportunity now for SJ Gaming going the other way. Can they generate something? Kescatalo with it. Gets it back up top. Abele, that long shot ends up going towards the corner. And now centered up high for the defenseman. Stepping in, taking the shot was blockered down. Really good chance. The puck loose down low. And it is covered up for a whistle. We're now seeing Terity stepping in to try to generate something on the scoring chance. The defenseman for SJ Gaming trying to get that offensive rhythm back in for their team.
Honestly, a lucky break for Uiski. He wasn't down in the butterfly. That puck nearly swept in to the back of the net between his legs, as we saw in that first game.
Checkmate now trying to set up the offensive zone. Defenseman trying to hold position. Nice little forecheck by Yakuri. Forces the turnover. And now it's Kescatalo moving up. But offside. 1-1-1 on the board in the first period of a 1-0 game. Checkmate on top. The goal scored by the centerman. Tackle control early in this first period. SJ Gaming's had a couple more opportunities, certainly in the last few minutes, and they had to open the period. We'll see what they could do to close out the frame. Final 35 seconds of period number 1. Checkmate moving out. Nice little pass, but they were offside. A little too eager to get into the zone was Mr. Nipsley as he crossed the blue line just before the puck did.
As you mentioned, building blocks for SJ Gaming right now. The space is there to make a play. Just need a little bit better execution, and they have a chance here late.
Final 5 seconds. SJ Gaming maybe one more shot on goal if they could generate it, but well defended by Checkmate, just forcing the puck towards the corner, and that does it for the first period of play. So a 1-0 lead in favor of Checkmate, as they were the team that came out aggressively to open up the first period, and it resulted in this goal.
A spectacular feed again from Mr. Nipsley. Looked for that play a couple of times. As we mentioned, tackle control, getting the overtime game-winning goal last time out and opening up the scoring here. You know, as we mentioned with SJ Gaming, the opportunity is there right now. Still very impressed, though, with the goaltending for both sides, Uwiski, of course, in particular right now, keeping that goose egg up on the board. But with Make Axel and Vilho, the defenseman for Checkmate, just doing a great job of limiting these opportunities and limiting these shots. Again, with SJ Gaming, averaging just over 8 shots per game heading into this series of games, into this broadcast. We had seen them playing above that standard, but right now being held, below that standard, on pace for only 6 shots in this game. So very impressed with the defense for Checkmate, despite the fact that, again, you talk about the goals against average towards the bottom half. You talk about, their penalty kill isn't exactly on point. The goals against average is a little bit questionable, but they're playing a really good defensive game right now.
And a lot of just always like to point out the face-off circle, 7-2 tackle control, not only just the goal, but he's won 77% of the face-offs, and I believe he came away with that one now as well. So now 80% in the face-off circle for tackle control. So what an afternoon, evening, night, depending on where in the world you're sitting, for tackle control in this doubleheader, picking up the overtime winner in Game 1. He's the only one on the board here so far in Game 2, and fantastic in the face-off circle in this game as well. SJ Gaming trying to get it in deep, but unable to do so. They're just not able to even get down into the circle area, as Checkmate gets it in deep into the other end with a little dump in, trying to put some pressure on the SJ Gaming defense, but SJ will manage to move it out. And now they've cleared the zone finally, as the puck was loose, sitting just inside the blue line. Nice little spin move by the defenseman Abali as it goes towards the corner, and now a power play chance is coming for SJ Gaming. For SJ Gaming. So a really big opportunity here for them if they can capitalize early in the second.
Face off opportunity. Getting the defenseman involved again. They've continued to do that more so than Checkmate. We'll see, though. Again, Checkmate, the worst penalty kill in the league.
We'll see what happens here. It's a 1-0 game. A power play goal would be gigantic. A penalty kill for Checkmate. A really nice little chip by Mr. Nipsley to get it out of the zone and all the way down. I love when you see that move work properly in this game. It's just really pretty animation, the way it works. Puck still in the neutral zone now, finally in the offensive end. It's just thrown on goal, maybe off the side of the net, turned aside either way, and now setting up in front. The puck is loose and turned aside and covered by Uwiski. Held on to with 26 seconds left on the man advantage for SJ Gaming. So an opportunity for SJ Gaming here on the power play, but Checkmate coming up big. And as soon as I pointed out the face-off circle, it was SJ Gaming winning back-to-back draws after now Checkmate, of course, coming up with a face-off win of their own just to clear the zone, and now an offside. And that will basically, with 6 seconds left on the power play, that will basically do it for the man advantage. They do have an opportunity to maybe try to at least start in, but if you're Checkmate, you do have a man coming out of the box momentarily. If you could win this back, you've got someone right there with it, and they do win it back. So now back to 5-on-5, even strength. Checkmate circling in their own end, trying to move out of the zone, waiting for an opportunity. They're taking their time. They're waiting for that opening just to get it across the blue line. They're not hesitating to just be willing to keep it in deep, as that centering feed was intercepted by Checkmate in the slot and now moved on ahead, staying just onside. The puck is loose right in front of the blue paint, diving onto it and covering up for the whistle is Hitala with 11:20 to go in period number 2. So a nice penalty kill there by Checkmate to keep this a 1-0 game.
Very solid. Uncharacteristic, perhaps. And as you mentioned, a little bit of extra patience from the defense on the breakout, perhaps due to the best chance on that power play for SJ Gaming coming off of a turnover and a chance for Makari in front.
Fenceman stepping in. Billow with it. Pressured. Banks it off the boards and gets it in deep and then gets it back again. Nice little spin, but a nice little steal made by Yakuri. His pass, he was looking up from Makari, but it was taken away by Checkmate. Well recovered by Checkmate on that one, as that offensive zone turnover nearly led to a breakaway the other way, or at least an odd man rush.
Tackle control, a couple of big defensive plays, and you love to see it from a center. We talked about it. Keys to success, if we're generalizing for the ECL, particularly in the Elite Division, a very strong two-way effort from your center, and we've seen it from tackle control, has the only goal of the game thus far, and is breaking up plays on the SJ Gaming counterattack.
Won that face-off as well, unable to clear the zone, though, as SJ Gaming got in there. Really nice pressure from their centerman. Still held in the zone by SJ Gaming. A nice little move, just a little hesitation by Niats just to get it out of the zone. And SJ Gaming recovering in their own end. That long pass out of reach goes all the way down the ice. No icing on the play, so Checkmate's going to have to move with it here. SJ Gaming getting that pressure on again. Oh, they were just offside on that play. That was so close to holding the zone at the blue line, but the puck just barely squeaked across the blue line back to the neutral zone. Could have been a really nice opportunity for SJ Gaming had they managed to maybe touch the puck an instant sooner.
We're checking pressure paying off for them right now. It's that battle. Huge hit and a 5-minute major coming up. Checkmate with an opportunity to perhaps seal the deal right here on this man advantage alone. Keskitalo, the center, going to the box. Huge chance for tackle control to dominate the draws here.
This is, you've got the threat on their bishop, on their knight, and on their rook. And if you could capitalize on any of those in the next 5 minutes, for the remainder basically of this second period, it would be absolutely huge. Offensive zone pressure set up here by Checkmate on this 5-minute power play opportunity. Really good crisp passing, just player to player, just moving the puck. One-time shot, generates a rebound, it's loose in front, still loose. Picked up and thrown on, and it's turned aside. I believe that was a shoulder save made by Hitula, rather, excuse me. And finally covering up for a whistle just over a minute gone by in this power play. So a lot of pressure here so far by Checkmate.
You can pronounce his name any way you want. Right now, at the end of the day, he is saving the day for SJ Gaming. Phenomenal individual effort there through the opening minute to minute and a half of this extended Checkmate power play.
Hitula just coming up absolutely gigantic so far, and he's going to need to continue that because still over 3 minutes of power play time left as Checkmate again with the rush. Here's an opportunity, bringing it in. That was the defenseman, or excuse me, that's the center rather, tackle control, getting in with it deep, and he gets that one-time feed, and his shot went off a body and wide. Good positioning by the defense. The puck loose in front and covered up by the netminder, as Hitula will cover up for a whistle with 2:45 to go in the period and a little under 2.5 to go on the power play.
Frustrating moment for Checkmate, perhaps getting a little bit anxious. You want to get at least one out of this, and your center just lost a draw to Makari, not the center for SJ Gaming.
But here's a nice little steal to keep possession in the offensive end. What can they do with it? Nice little board pin, perhaps. It's poked away and taken away. One more time, setting up in the offensive end. It's D-to-D passing, now stepping in deep. Can they do something with it? No, it's taken away and nicely cleared out of the zone by Akuri as he's just going to make sure it gets as far down as possible. Kill off some time here on their penalty kill.
Puck out of play. Every once in a while you can see a play like that, unfortunately off of the stick contact. Going through the boards, but a huge moment for Checkmate here, getting the offensive zone draw.
I think that's what happens when it goes through the photographer's slot, is that little one-time feed generates a rebound and it's put off the side of the net. Tackle control was there and he missed it by inches. Closing minute of period number 2, but we're going to have another whistle and another penalty coming up. So,
Buried in the box.
Yeah, 5-on-3 basically for the remainder of this second period. SJ Gaming wins the defensive zone draw and sends the puck all the way down. So in 25 seconds, we'll be on a 5-on-4. We'll see what they can do here in the closing seconds. That quick little slap shot ends up going wide. Trying to set something up one more time. Closing 15 seconds. Down low. Nipsely trying to center it, but it's taken away and cleared out to fresh from the box. It's Keskitalo. He turns it over in the other end, but that's going to kill off the remainder of period number 2. So Checkmate still holds that 1-0 lead. They will still be on the power play to open up the third period. But a 5-minute penalty kill successful by SJ Gaming, including a little bit of 5-on-3 time. And Hitula just standing tall, really keeping his team in it through that frame.
You have to be frustrated if you're Checkmate. Yes, you are in the lead in this game. You're still in the driver's seat. But to not make a team like SJ Gaming pay for the opportunity that they, just gifted you. A completely, gift-wrapped opportunity, really. You don't often see 5-minute majors. You won't often see players make the mistake of just full steam ahead into a boarding call. But right now, I mean, you look at the numbers. It is absolutely one-sided towards Checkmate. SJGaming just one registered shot in that second period. But we know that they have the ability to come back. And unfortunately for Checkmate, you haven't yet won or lost a game, for that matter, in regulation. So that insurance goal would have been huge. They still have an opportunity here, but perhaps the best chance has already gone to waste.
They do still have a bit of power play time remaining, but yeah, when you're on a 5-minute power play and then you're on a bit of a 5-on-3 to the tail end of that, when you can't capitalize on it, that's a huge energy swing for SJGaming. And here they come with the first rush of the period, trying to go back and forth. Keskatalo and Yakuri, maybe one too many passes as it results in a turnover. Final rush of the man advantage for Checkmate. They get it into the zone, but turn it over, and it is sent the length of the ice, and that will do it for what was a lengthy 6+ minute, I believe, total length power play that involved a 5-minute major, a little 5-on-3, and then the remainder of a 2-minute power play. Over 2 minutes gone by here, an opportunity for SJGaming down low, but the shot is turned aside as Yakuri found himself in the slot. Uiski tested for the first time, basically, in quite some time, coming up with a stop.
Difficult save to make after that much time off, but he'll be feeling pretty good after stopping that one. Could have been a huge game changer. Really, SJGaming, if you score here in the next few minutes, momentum, squarely in your favor. As if it isn't already, you have to be feeling good after making that kill.
Good job staying with the puck here by Checkmate, holding the zone. That redirected a couple times on its way to the net, but was turned aside by Hitala. Drop pass. Now down low. On the backhand, and it's being waved off.
Yakuri buried it with the patience, but a little bit of contact from Makari. Ooh. And it's looking like this one is not going to be overturned. If I had to guess, that is a backbreaker, because you see another big save by Hitala for SJGaming. Come down the other way. Looks like he tied it up. Fortunately, though, still down by 1.
And if you're SJGaming, you have to try to get some quick pressure now, because you have beaten the goaltender, even if it doesn't register on the board. Try to capitalize on the ability to say that you've put the puck in the net, and maybe try to keep that offensive pressure up here. But it's Checkmate coming away with possession off of that neutral zone faceoff, and they're going to enter the offensive zone, turning it over. Nice little steal. That was a little home run pass attempt towards Yakuri, but well read by the matching green player. That would be Niats on the other side. Defensive zone turnover by Checkmate. Down low, center towards the slot. Puck is loose behind the net, and now towards the corner as SJGaming with another nice offensive opportunity, but they cannot beat Uiski. Gaming entering the zone one more time, trying to set up is Yakuri. He's in the left side corner. Gets it down low, back behind Keskatalo. Centering feed, that slap shot is turned aside. Nice save is made and gets back into position. Another slap shot, and it's turned aside. Another huge save is made. It looks like Uiski is going to be tested in this third period. Unlike in the second, he's been tested quite a bit so far, but he has stood up to the challenge, aside from the one where he was technically interfered with.
Already 4 registered shots for SJGaming. Had just 3 heading into the period. Of course, they've used their timeout here, and probably a smart move. It's a shame because Hitala for SJGaming has been great. Of course, just the one blemish on that save percentage right now. But Uiski, despite not being tested, still looking as focused as ever. Makes another big save there. His positioning has been phenomenal through these 2 games.
We will see what they could do off of the timeout. SJGaming with the face-off to the right of Uiski. They are down 2-to-1 ratio on the face-off, but they win that one and they get the redirection. But what a save made by Uiski. That one got tipped, I believe, in front, and I have no idea how he came up with it.
Maybe just pure blind luck that Makari put it into the glove. A spectacular set play off the slap pass. SJGaming have to be wondering, what do we have to do to get on the board in this one if that doesn't go in?
Halfway through period number 3 is Checkmate with possession in the neutral zone. Now we're trading off possession, battling for it between the blue lines. SJGaming trying to set something up. They have it down low. Takes a shot, the rebound, and it's in! Keskatalo has tied things up, and we are one more time at a 1-1 game My friend, we are in familiar territory.
You know, we should have expected that this would have at least the threat of going to overtime yet again. SJ Gaming, finally, just the sense of relief that must have washed over them to see that puck finally make its way past Uiski. The centers leading the way right now in terms of the goal scoring. We'll see what happens. Again, I think we're due for a very interesting final 9 minutes here to this third period. But what a goal. Great team effort to get the puck into a dangerous area.
And kudos to the timeout. That one allowed them to regroup, set things up, and very quickly after it results in a goal. Checkmate trying to center that one was just out of reach of a couple of players. Could have resulted in an interesting opportunity, but instead the puck goes all the way back down to their end. Under 8 minutes to go in this third and final regulation period as Checkmate on a rush. Nice little stick lift by the defenseman, Abuli, and that leads to Yakuri in on the forehand, turned aside. He still has possession behind the net and pokes it away. Another opportunity. SJ Gaming, that long shot, that blast from the defenseman goes off of a skate and wide, and Checkmate will clear the zone.
Make Axel did a great job of sticking with Yakuri on that one-on-one. Great job to help take away a really solid chance. Yakuri still made the best of it, just didn't come to fruition.
One more time, SJ Gaming in the offensive end, under 5 minutes to go, trying to center, huge hit delivered. Checkmate, though, recovers the loose puck and skates it out of the zone. Can Checkmate get back into their offensive pressure that they've had? We've seen the momentum really shift since the end of that power play chance, that extended 6-ish minute power play that Checkmate had. Here they go. Can they get a little bit of that momentum back? Under 3 minutes to play. Checkmate in the offensive end, trying to get the puck towards the front of the net, but the centering feed from Mr. Nipsely was taken away, and SJ Gaming moves it out. Nice pass, breaking in to the backhand, and it was poked towards the corner. And that is going to result in a penalty shot. I thought he got it cleanly, but he didn't. A really good poke, but
Great
he got
penalty.
the skates.
Open net if Make Axel didn't trip him. Chance here to make the save.
We'll see what he does. Moving into the backhand. Makari scores, and this game may not be headed to overtime.
Makari goes right back to the backhand. Would have been how SJ Gaming would have scored on that breakaway to begin with. Not much Uiski could do. Still a really good penalty from Make Axel to take that and give his goalie a chance to make the save. But what a clutch performance there from Makari to make that save. 2-1 now for SJ Gaming, surviving a really slow start. And time-wise, we're down to the final moments here. Checkmate, not much time to keep that overtime streak alive.
1 minute, 45 seconds. Checkmate needs a goal, or it will be a regulation victory for SJ Gaming. They win the faceoff. Checkmate entering the zone offensively. Nice little move, gets the puck back, up to the D. Long shot, redirects, and goes right into the glove and is played down by the netminder, Hitala. Now SJ Gaming with under a minute to play in this contest. 2-on-1 chance. Can they generate another goal? Turned aside and ends up going wide and behind the net. 45 seconds remaining. Checkmate trying to get into the zone. Nice intercept. Great read by Abuli, and they will manage to get the puck out of their own end. Centered. Yakuri gets it down low. The puck is still loose. Taken back away and poked back up high by the Checkmate defense. 25 seconds. They have time, maybe one, maybe two more rushes. That centering feed was just behind its intended target as they were looking for Niats. Opportunity here. 16 seconds. Long slap shot blocked. Huge traffic in front. Laying the body on the line was SJ Gaming. Forces Checkmate to touch back up. Final 10 seconds. Delayed penalty coming. It'll be touched with 7.5 to go in this third period. And going off is the centerman, Cascatalo. That could be big, as it'll be an offensive zone draw for Checkmate. One last chance.
We've seen Makari win draws, though, against tackle control on that 5-minute major. Biggest face-off of the game right here. Still plenty of time.
Game is on the line. What can tackle control do? Loses the draw, and it's cleared all the way down. And SJ Gaming will pick up a come-from-behind 2-1 regulation victory, handing Checkmate their first regulation time loss of the season. What a comeback from SJ Gaming, because that one was all Checkmate for the first maybe 38 minutes.
Extremely impressive for them to survive. All the credit in the world to Hitala, who made the big-time saves when his team desperately needed it. If that game gets out of control, if Checkmate's up by 3 or by 4, obviously I don't think we see that comeback, but to have your goalie do what you needed to do, keep the game within striking distance, give your team a chance to kind of get their game together, find a way to work themselves back into it. I mean, that is exactly what you need from a goaltender at this level. But whether or not SJGaming would have been capable of scoring 3 goals or 4 goals to tie that up, I don't think that would have been the case. Uiski, a very tough goaltender to beat, takes a penalty shot to get a game winner and prevent it from going to overtime. But a very impressive performance from SJGaming to overcome that extremely slow start, perhaps that uncharacteristically slow start.
Yeah, it was really just a great job because Checkmate, when they scored the overtime winner, they basically, over the course of the doubleheader, had scored 3 consecutive goals because they trailed 1-0 in game 1, ended up winning 2-1 in OT. And then moments into the start of game number 2, another goal by Tackle Control, his second of the day, now up to 8 on the season for him in 6 games of play. It really could have been over when you're looking at that, especially because Checkmate maintained the momentum and the energy going through the rest of the first and the rest of the second. We were looking at the shot totals late in the second period or at the end of the second period, and SJGaming had like nothing. Even
I believe it was
to
3. You had 2 at the end of the first, just 1 registered shot. Of course, you had the big kill to make in that second period for the last 5 minutes. That certainly would have affected the amount of registered shots, but it was a perfect start for Checkmate, holding a team of SJGaming's caliber to just 3 shots. And you did make the chess analogy, but it looked like you were good to go. It looked like victory was nearly certain. And whether or not they let it slip away or SJGaming just finally found what they needed to break through, really a solid comeback, despite the fact that, 1 goal lead isn't the biggest amount of padding. But ultimately, I think Checkmate's going to look back on that 5-minute power play plus that little bit of extra and say, we really needed that.
That was it. I mean, because it wasn't even just that they didn't score. It was the fact that they had it killed off entirely. Just immediately swung things towards SJGaming. They came out much quicker after that second penalty was killed early on in the third period. They called that timeout, which that was a Hall of Fame caliber timeout, the way that was taken, because it was they were down 1-0. They tied it moments later, had opportunities coming up after that as well, and then it resulted in the penalty shot, which resulted in the game-winning goal to make it a 2-1 contest. Great use of a timeout by SJGaming just to settle down, and get back to their game. But that penalty kill was it. That for me, that was the moment. If you want to credit the goalie, the defense, the penalty killers entirely, to be down a man at least for, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 full minutes. Yes. It may have been a little bit more. And to be down 5-on-3 for 30 seconds, a minute of it, that was nuts to be able to kill that off. That is a huge energy boost for your team.
Extremely impressive. And I mean, SJGaming had a top 5 penalty kill. Actually, they had the perfect penalty kill heading into the night. They had a top 5 power play. So it's really not all that surprising. I mean, coming into today, we said, okay, they take the most penalties, but they have the ability to kill it off, and then they're able to make the most of it. And, with the penalties that we saw them take, I wasn't sure if they'd be able to maintain that. I mean, how can you maintain that perfect penalty kill percentage? And again, unless I'm mistaken, there was not a power play goal scored against them, I don't believe, in either series. So, and if there is, it was 1 at the most. So you're talking about either a near perfect or still perfect penalty kill from the team that takes the most penalties in the league. So if there was any team that was going to have the prowess to survive that situation, it was SJGaming, but still stunning nonetheless that they were able to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, their penalty kill was great. Yeah, they took a handful of penalties, and but yeah, I mean, just great penalty kill late in that, or midway through that second and final game of our second doubleheader. So we've seen 3 teams play. All of them came away with at least 1 win in our contest. So normally for hockey, you go 3 stars of the game. So Let's go with a star for each team. If we're going back through, you can start with SJ Gaming if you want, since we saw them play 4 games. If you're picking a star, who stood out to you from each of these teams over the course of the contest that we saw, across all 4 that we saw? I know that's tough. That's why I try to make that as a long question as possible.
I'll go back to Almost Famous first from the first series, and I think you could pick any of the 3 forwards. It was San, Oyamasuka, and Sokolo. I'd probably give it to Sokolo just because of Zan's little bit of consistency struggles in terms of making the most of his opportunities. When it comes down to Checkmate, Uiski, it has to be. Again, there were some key moments there. Tackle control had some big time goals. Obviously, the game winner in overtime in the first game that we covered, but I think it has to go to Uiski. Just, again, a really strong performance, and he's going to be disappointed at the fact he didn't walk away with both victories, but a penalty shot goal with less than a minute and a half, or less than 2 minutes, I think it was 1:45, I believe you said, when that goal was scored. So ultimately, got to give it to the goaltender for Checkmate. And for SJ Gaming, I mean, there are some solid options. I was very impressed with the defensemen, the way they got involved. Abelie in particular, a little bit more offensive than I think I at least expected him to be. But I think today, overall, it belonged to the goaltenders. Hitala was fantastic, and again, made some gigantic saves. We've mentioned it a lot, but that 6 minutes or so worth of penalty kill time, he made some phenomenal saves to keep that game close, and SJ Gaming were able to crawl their way back in.
So I definitely agree with you on the first 2. The only one that I'm going to maybe suggest otherwise for SJ Gaming is the first game that they played. Nobody really had this outstanding game. They got shut out. They gave up 6 goals in the game. There isn't really a player that's not one where you see one of their players making the 3 stars of the game for
Fair.
that situation. If you're looking at their other games, they went 2-1 or 2-1-1 overall for the day, 2-0-1 aside from that 6-0 loss where you can't count anyone. Both games that they won came on a game-winning goal scored in the last 2 minutes of regulation or in overtime, both scored by Makari. And if you're going to go with anyone other than the goalie, and because I agree with you, it's hard with that first game being 6-0 to factoring in all 4 to go goalie, but I agree with you because there isn't anybody from that first game to be like, you deserve to be one of the 3 stars, because it was all the other team. That is
a fair point, I would say, for sure. I mean, if you're factoring in that first game, I guess you can look at the individual players and say, okay, was it on Hitala that happened in the first place? Sure. How many could he have stopped? I don't disagree, though. If I had to choose somebody else, I would go with Makari for SJ Game.
I think it depends on how you look at that first game, and if you're going to write it off for everybody, or if you're just going to say, well, you got to factor in the goals against, or the stat line, in which case 6 goals against versus 0 points. One looks a little
bit more lopsided than the other.
Right. Neither, he could have given up 1 goal and they still would have lost that game because Almost Famous just they shut him out. It was an incredible game by their goaltender in that one.
Very impressive.
Yeah. So taking a look at the standings right now, obviously 4 games more played by SJ Gaming, but they are currently 1 point up on the rest of the ECL Elite in the overall standings. But I was impressed with Checkmate in the way that they played. You don't know what to expect when you have a team that's gone to overtime 4 times. Have they gotten lucky twice? Have they basically just, played not to lose? What was that? But I was really impressed with the way that they played. And again, they have a goal differential of 0 for the season. They are literally 13 goals scored, 13 goals allowed. Every single game has been a 1-goal contest. And that is really impressive, even 6 games into a season, to just always be in it when you're playing in a game.
You have to wonder, though, how long is that going to be sustainable for, in terms of just walking that line of being essentially an even team, for lack of a better term. Like, is that going to be enough to get yourselves in the playoffs? When, again, obviously, if we were to look at point percentage, the standings would be drastically different here. But there are some, phenomenal teams that could easily sneak their way in. You talk about Brace Phantoms again, most recently up. We saw Almost Famous in the split between them and SJ Gaming, of course. Well, and then, Checkmate. We can see what happens there. H-Reds are a team that were expected to have a much better start than they've had thus far. So, it is tough to say, but obviously, as opposed to, being out of it every game or constantly having to fight from behind, if you are right there, if you can have it be a competitive game, as long as you sneak away with the wins a little bit more frequently, you are going to find yourself in the postseason, because those overtime losses in particular, you get a point for that. You do get that little pity point, and they are going to add up overtime, of course.
I like calling it a pity point because I always hear it called the loser point. I think the pity point, it's
the loser point, the Bettman point, I've heard it called.
I have nothing against here. I know the 3-2-1 system is something that's talked about all the time with the NHL, but I'm on board with it being the way it is. It is what it is. I don't know if there's a way to do that would make the games more exciting as far as distributing points. That's a very different conversation. We'll add that to the ones with checkers, how you cheat at checkers, and castling and chess and strategies thereof. But taking a look at the scores for today's contest, obviously we've been covering all 4 of SJ Gaming's games. Anything else as you're just kind of scanning through here that of interest to you or that kind of jumps out at you?
I'm impressed by Färjestad going 2-1 thus far. I'd be intrigued at the result of their 4th game. They had a little bit of a delay in terms of getting their season started, just beginning their season today. Very intrigued to see how that's going to go down for them as well. I mean, when it comes to these clubs that are sponsored by, legitimate SHL or Liga clubs, you do expect that extra bit of pressure. Again, perhaps that little bit of higher expectation and wanting to see what they're able to do. And when it comes down to that roster, they do have some very solid names. In goal, they have 2 of the top goaltenders that I can recall in Obagol and Rundqvist. Forward-wise, as well, someone like Rubitas, Bastian, some very strong players. So a 2-1 start, not too bad. Again, don't know the result of that 4th game at the moment, but that stands out. But a big win, I would say, for Brace Phantoms. Again, a recently promoted team, to beat them 6-3. I actually would have been very intrigued to see that game play out.
That's a very high scoring affair, the most cumulative goals scored between the two teams of any game that we've on this schedule that you can see that's actually concluded as of right now. Almost Famous SJ Gaming, that 6-0 shutout. We saw that earlier on. That was the first game that we saw in our doubleheader of doubleheaders here on NHLGamer. It was an interesting way to start. We saw 4 games. One team, obviously, SJ Gaming, going all through all 4 games. We saw very different style games, I think, throughout the day. We saw, well, at the very least, we saw 2. We saw that 6-0 rout in game 1, and then we've seen, we saw back and forth in our second game, and we've seen 3 consecutive, though, that were all decided by a single goal. And that is pretty remarkable to see a 6-0 game and then 3 games decided by exactly 1 goal apiece.
It was interesting to follow along SJ Gaming for that reason. I mean, like you talk about, you do have that first game where it's just completely unlike the others. And then we saw the games where they were in control. We've seen examples of them battling back from perseverance, showing that perseverance and battling back from an extremely slow start. So, in terms of a team to follow, I was certainly entertained by what we saw here. And I think SJ Gaming are going to be one of those main teams to watch, maybe on the bubble, maybe not, if they can find that consistency.
All right, so that's going to do it here. Drew Goldfarb and Cody Tugas. I'm going to give you the last word. What do you got for us? Close us out.
Again, an honor to join you here today. Very much unexpected, but very happy to have taken part. Again, you can find the socials on screen. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, everywhere, of course, NHLGamer, for all the information that you need, not only, of course, for the ECL and the 4 tiers of that, 196 teams within those 4 tiers. Are you impressed? You should be. And of course, through the elite system here, the largest prize pool that anyone's played for. It's pretty nice. Again, all the information that you need is on NHLGamer.com.